Shalom Yasharala.
Shalom.
Shalom. Welcome to another class here with ISBHPK. We are located here at 231 FM 1092, Stafford, Texas, zip code 77477. Class days and times is Mondays and Wednesdays from 7 to 9 p.m., Fridays from 6 to 8, Saturday from 10 a.m. to about 2 p.m. And we also got a school in Norfolk, Virginia. The address out there is 2610 Granby Street, Norfolk, Virginia, 23517. Class times and days is Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturday from 10 a.m. to about 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And then we do have the school in Rochester, New York. Address out there is 1609. 1600 Lyell Ave, Suite 1A, Rochester, New York. Zip code 14606. Class times and days, Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, from 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturday from 10 a.m. to about 2 p.m. Then we got the school in San Antonio. The address out there is 4444 Walsham Road, Suite 201, San Antonio, Texas. Zip code 78218. Class times and days is Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 7:30 to about 10:30. Saturday from 10 a.m. to about 4 p.m. We ask that you do like, share, and subscribe to all the classes. We got us. We also have Mashaba. He does the Blog Talk Radio. He does it a lot, and it starts at about 10 a.m. And we ask that you like, share, and subscribe to the 5 Minutes of Wisdom, the Israelite Media Corps, the kids class, which is every Sunday at 1 p.m. And the final, oh no, that's already done. So yeah, we got the Feast of Tabernacles coming up, which will be on the 18th of December. Feast of Tabernacles is going to be the 18th of December through the 25th. Feast of Lights, Feast of Dedication, Hanukkah, December 18th through the 25th.
Chanukah.
And
Chanukah.
Yeah, I haven't done this in a while. So Israel wear, I believe might be done accepting orders right now because they're about to get ready with Passover. And of course we got the subscriptions. It's $35 for the Israel wear shirt and $75 for the shirt and headband. And if you'd like to partake in the academy, if you're a brother in Houston, we do it every Tuesday. Virginia and Rochester is every Monday. If you'd like to contact any of the priests, their numbers is on the screen. And we ask that you support our business, Sweet Ambiance and Chosen Creations. You can shop at Chosen Creations at the Etsy store or chosencreations.com. And if you'd like to give any donations, the link to all the donations is on the screen. So with that, we'd like to open it up for class.
Yeah, I don't have okay, let me slow down, I'm hyped. How's everybody doing? Okay. I don't know why I'm so turned. I got energy all of a sudden. I don't have a title yet. We'll get one as we go. But I want to talk about the children. I believe the children are future, right? Okay, I'm not gonna sing to y'all, but I definitely want to talk about the children and raising children. And we're gonna start at Psalms. We're gonna start at Psalms 127. We're going to start at Psalms 127. You can start at verse 3. And, just the importance of raising children. Why is it important? The who, what, whens, where's, why's, the hows. Pick you guys' brain a little bit. See what y'all think. All right, so Go to Psalms. And we'll get a title. Right? We'll get a title. You know, we always get the titles in the middle. Go to Psalms 127. I want you to start at verse 3.
This book of Psalms, chapter 127 and verse 3.
Right?
Lo, children are an heritage of the Lord,
Go ahead.
and the fruit of the womb is his reward.
Right. So children are an heritage from the Most High, and the fruit of the womb is a reward. Go ahead.
As arrows are in the hand of a mighty man,
Right.
so are children of the youth.
Right. So it's equating children to arrows. Now, what are arrows used for? What do you do with arrows?
Shoot them.
You shoot them from a bow, right? In the times of war, in the times of defense. So so I want y'all to think, because the scriptures is equating children. Think about an arrow, the destruction that it can do to your enemies, right? Think about an arrow, you could use that to put down an animal that you can feast on,
Yeah.
right? So this arrow is this weapon of war. So it's equating our children to this weapon of war, but I skipped the part. More importantly, it says that children are the heritage from the Lord. So what is a heritage? Anybody? What's a heritage? Or why did it say that the children are a heritage from the Lord? Or a heritage of the Lord? What does it mean by heritage? This is important. This is important. This is going to be very important to the class and understanding what we're going over. What does it mean? You're not to get like a specific definition, but what do y'all think it means? Little class participate. What's that?
I'm gonna say a blessing.
Okay, a blessing. Okay. Well, remember it said heritage, so it used that word distinctly. What's that? An inheritance. Okay, right? Because in the sense of the word, that's what a heritage is, something that you inherit, right? Now, but think about it. Give me an example of what it means to have an heritage, or even an inheritance. What is it? What is it? What is an inheritance? What?
An inheritance is something passed throughout a family.
Past what?
Passed through a family line.
Right, from generation to generation, right? So now think about what the scripture is saying. It says children are a heritage from the Lord. So what do the children represent about the people? Chinese children, what do they represent about their people? African children, what do they represent about their children? Israelite children, what are they supposed to represent about our people? Y'all with me? Come on. What?
Like our culture, or like our what do we do? Go with, they just left me.
Okay, you said our culture,
Like our culture, like
right? So go with that thought of culture. What does culture have to do with?
our customs.
Our custom.
What we do as a people, as a nation.
Right? So what is that though? Like, it's customarily for us to speak what? As Israelites? Hebrew. It's customarily for us to celebrate Christmas or Hanukkah? Hanukkah, right? So the heritage is the things that you've learned in the past, that you enjoy presently, that bring you into the future. That's what a heritage, that's what it means to inherit something. It's something that's established in the past that you can use now in the future, but then it also, or use now in the present, but then it's also feasible to be used and carried on for the future. That's what it means for a heritage. Now, when you look at children, it says that children are a heritage from the Lord. So what do the children represent? Or what should they represent when it comes to our customs? The customs of the Israelite. What is it saying about the children in the sense of this scripture? Well, I'll give it to you. What is saying? What? Okay.
Since this is of the Lord,
Right.
The children represent the Lord.
They represent the Lord in what aspects, though? The sister said they are the continuation of the bloodline. Perfect. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. Now, it's more than just the bloodline, right? Remember, Isaac and Ishmael were Abraham's bloodline, right? They both came from Abraham, but who kept the heritage of Abraham? Isaac, right? He was the child that kept the heritage of Abraham, right? So he got something from the past. He used it presently. Now, what was the future thing that he was going to do? What was Isaac going to do with that heritage? Language, food, dietary, dress code, moral standard, civil standard. What?
Teach it to his children.
Right. He was going to pass it down, right, to Jacob. And then Jacob was going to do what? The same thing. So the heritage was something that was supposed to go from generation to generation. But if you look at it, the teachings of the heritage, because each culture has their own heritage, right? Chinese people do what they do. Japanese people do what they do. They got their own culture. Indian people have a culture. And Middle Eastern people have a culture. Malaysian people have a culture. Russian people have a culture, right? Esau got his own culture. So, but where do they get these things from? How do they understand that this is our culture? Like, how does the white man know that his culture, his inheritance is the modern day sword? How does he learn that? Well, that was what? It was handed down, right? From generation. It was taught. It was taught to the children, right? As they came up, Papa Esau would sit down with his little gremlin Edomite children and teach them, hey, son, let's go hunt, right? We're going to go into the woods with this shotgun. We're going to load her up, sprinkle the deer piss right all over our bodies, lay here for 3 days, wait for a wild buck. We're going to get some good eating, right? That's my whack Southern accent, right? But that's how they did it, this rite of passage, this passing down the heritage from one generation to another. Now, it says children are the heritage of the Lord, and the fruit of the womb is his reward. Then it comes back, read verse 4 again.
Verse 4. As arrows are in the hand of a mighty man.
Go ahead.
So are children of the youth.
So are children of the youth. So these children represent these arrows. We know arrows can be destructive, right? A marksman with an arrow, man, he could hit you from yards away, right? That's a hunter's or a warrior's weapon. Read on.
Happy is the man that have his quiver full of them.
Right.
They shall not be ashamed.
Now let me ask you a question. What's the point of a dull arrow? There really isn't one, right? Because an arrow is predicated on two things: its sharpness, its point, and the velocity at which it's drawn back in that bow, and a person's aim. So three things: you got to have good aim, sharp arrows, and the velocity of that arrow to strike that target at a distance.
Yeah.
But you could have good aim and velocity, but what if that arrow is dull? It might hit, boom, right? But it won't cause the damage that you're looking for. You want that arrow to what? Penetrate, puncture, disable, right? Now just think about it. Why did the Most High equate children, Israelite children? He ain't talking about children of the world. Like, he ain't talking about Indian children here. He said this is the Most High talking about Israelite children. Why did he equate them to arrows that can destroy animal, beasts, enemies, defend a city, right? Wage war, stop war. Why did he equate children to this weapon? And also, what good is a weapon of an arrow that's dull? Who thinks they got the answer? What?
I want to say, if we teach them right, and we pass down that heritage right, and we teach them right, they're the ones that are going to defend us in the future against
Right.
But if we don't teach them, they'll be dull, so they'll just fall with us.
Right. So it's all their sharpness, their ability to be good arrows, sharp arrows for a bow, is predicated on what they're being taught. Right. It's predicated on the institution that we put them through, the learning that they get. Now, when does that start? When is a child's most impactful developmental years? When do those start? Where a child like develops the most. What age? What ages is that? Where they see it and they do it.
They're babies till they're teenagers, because they be seeing everything and they're doing everything, they're following everything we do.
Right. So you said from when they're babies to about teenagers, right? Well, I'll scale it down a little bit. You're right. From the age of 1, right, to about the age of 5. That's where a child's brain and their different skills are literally they literally explode. Just think about it. Think about a child that's 6 months old, barely learning how to sit up, right? Barely learning, they got a little tooth or 3 trying to pop through, and they're barely learning how to keep themselves from wobbling over. But it's almost like once they learn how to sit up and they get those 2 teeth in the bottom, next thing you know, they learn how to drive. Right? It's like the explosion of growth, right? You see their personality. I'm being sarcastic, but when you hit that 6-month age, you can really see a child's personality. When they can sit up and assess things for themselves and really start to see the world from their perspective, not just on their back, but really get to see what you're doing. When they sit up and they're like, "Oh, that's what you're doing, Mom? Okay, I can see that." Right? Their perspective changes. So with a change of perspective is going to be a growth spurt, right? Because now they're able to observe many things that they weren't able to see just laying back or laying on their stomach. They get to turn and twist and look up and look down, and that's when they start to put their feet in their mouth. That's when they start to put everything and chew on everything. That's when now, they're crawling. Now they have more access. So the more mobile they become, the more access they gain. That's why when they start hitting a certain age, you got to do what? Childproof the house, right? Then when they walk, it's over. They're going to get it. What we always say, damn, when he starts walking, when she starts walking, yeah, hell on wheels. They're about to get into everything. That's a warrior right now. She'll be 1 in a few days. And I'm just like, man, when she started crawling, I was like, oh, here we go. Here we go. She's about to start now being able to endeavor into different things and discover new things other than just sitting on the couch or sitting inside of her little swing, right? She could be adventurous. So if I put her on the floor and all of a sudden I look around and I don't see her, but I see a trail of toilet paper, I'm like, oh yeah, she got into the toilet paper somehow, right? Because she knows that's a place she can go. Or she goes into the kitchen, she knows that's where the food comes from, right? They start to develop their skills socially at these ages. They start to develop, eating habits at these ages. Think about it. When does a child start to become picky? We always talk about it. I remember when Shariah used to eat everything, right? Mm-hmm. We always, he's like, I remember when Shariah would just eat everything. Now she's trying to be picky. How old is she? 2? 3. Right? But where did that pickiness start to come? Where she said, you know what? I don't want to eat that. I don't want to eat veggies. Right? Manashah's trying to do it. He's 2, and he's trying to now all of a sudden be a meat eater. All of a sudden he don't want to be vegan no more. Right? All of a sudden vegetables ain't good for him. He wants all the snack foods and the chips. Yeah. Right? And it's like, you gotta say no, you gotta eat that, right? Before you can get the chips or the sweets or anything like that. You gotta sit down and eat your vegetables. You gotta eat some fruit, eat a banana. Right? No, I want waffles. Huh? Waffles. no, you gonna get this banana. And then he'll pout and do all that, and it's like, well, you still gonna eat the banana. Right? But think about it, he's 2 years old. Is he? Yeah, he's 2. But I can remember when it didn't matter what I put in front of him. He'd devour it. No questions asked. It didn't even have to have taste. It didn't even need salt. You'd put an egg in front of him with no salt. He'd devour that egg. Right? But now he's looking for what tastes good to him. He's looking for what's sweet. He's looking for the fun foods. Right? So these ages of 1 to 5 are they're the fun years, but they're also the detrimental years. This is when they pick up all their different habits and their social cues.
Yeah.
Right? So they, again, physical activity, communication, social skills, emotional balance is where these are the ages. Just think about it. Think about how much our children know at the age of 2. Think about how smart they are. Think about how they can hop into the phone and maneuver YouTube. Right? They could damn near send text messages to that too. Think about they can hop on the controller, press play, and all of a sudden they're on HBO Max. All of a sudden they're on Disney Channel. They know how to turn on things. This is before the age of 5. They can literally maneuver electronics, right? So think about how equipped their brains really are. Where you could barely even still work your smartphone. You barely discovering things on your phone, and they're unlocking stuff on your phone. You're like, how you get to that? Right? How you unlock my phone with a fingerprint? Right? Well, because there's a growth spurt mentally with children between the age of 1 and 5, where all they're doing really is just looking and mimicking. They call them sponges. What we say, they're a sponge, right? All they do is look at us and mimic us, right? When Manasha stands here and tries to do his little salute, right? And he right? Or even Shaddak's son. Shaddak's son is a year old almost. His Kum Yasha Allah is, all he sees is hands going up. But he's 1, so he's like, but where is he getting that from? Where is he seeing? Well, he's seeing us do that.
Yeah.
He's seeing the men, Kwam Yasha Allah, but he's like double Kwam, right? So these are the ages where they sponge everything up, right? These are the ages where reading, language, and all these different things. Think about a child that can't read at the age of 7. Well, why is it such a struggle for them to read at 7, 8, 9? Well, because they were supposed to learn how to read when they started talking, right? At the age of 2. 3 is when you were supposed to say, look, let me start you on a reading path. Let me start you what? A, B, C, D, A, Ba, Ga, Da, right? And you start taking them down these paths early. Now it's even earlier, 6 months. As soon as they can hear, you want to start instilling in them language. The quicker the better, because then their learning curve won't be so big. It won't be such a gap, right? So, do we agree? Can we agree that? And you guys can look into this stuff. That's all I did is look into it. But from what you guys have seen with children and having children, right? Right, with the exception of Mike. But you've seen the children. Right? And you live with 3 children under the age of 5. Can we all agree that these years are detrimental years? That if these years are not honed in on, and if we really don't take the time to, isolate these years and really instill in the children that the things that we need to instill, what's going to happen? Well, we're going to be, what's the terminology we use sometimes? Hustling backwards.
Yeah.
Because from 1 to 5, if you don't instill, then somebody else is. Something is being instilled in them. Right? Now, customarily, dealing with our people, and you can see it stolen from our people and given to a bunch of other people. Customarily, those 1 to 5 years, who dealt with the children?
Women.
Huh?
The women.
You say the women, what you say? You say the, yeah, 1 to 5. Who had the kids?
Oh, I'm gonna get school.
The school, right? But no, customarily in our custom,
Oh, in our custom.
right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right. Women who?
Women.
Right? What y'all think? Mom, right? So he said the school though. So because in America's custom, as soon as they turn 1, kick their ass into daycare, right? Throw them over to some Edomite that's gonna just babysit them,
Yeah.
right? Throw them over to a daycare that's just gonna make sure that they get watched. But then when they come home, what are they dealing with? That's the question. So I want you to go to 2 Maccabees 7. Because I just want to make the point that, yeah, you guys are right. It was the women. Customarily, from ages 1 to 5, it was the women that literally educated, literally set the bounds of diet, set the bounds of the heritage, what this child was going to inherit. Language, right? Did I say custom? Morality skills, the moral fabric of that child came from mom. The civil, how to deal civilly. Not saying that dad wasn't a factor, but mom was the one that instituted these things on a day-to-day basis, right? So I want you to read 2 Maccabees 7:21. You're going to jump down to 27. Read that.
2 Maccabees chapter 7, verse 21.
Right?
Yeah, she exhorted every one of them in her own language.
Right, now, if you don't know this story, this is the story about the woman with the 7 sons that were tortured for not bowing down to the king of this time, right? They didn't bow down, they didn't eat the swine, they didn't break the law. So took her 7 sons and tortured them in front of her face, right? Literally, as the scriptures tell us, pull them to pieces alive, cut one's tongue out, dismember them, cut their arms off, cut their legs off, right in front of this woman. All 7 of her sons died in one day. So after the torture of a few of her sons, what does she do? Read on, read it from the top.
Yeah, she exhorted every one of them in her own language.
Right. So first and foremost, she dealt with them in the customary language of the Israelites, which is Hebrew.
Yeah.
Right? She taught her children their heritage. Now remember, we were in oppression at this time. We were in captivity at these times. But they still learned their language. Go ahead.
Filled with courageous spirit
Right?
and stirring up her womanish thoughts
Go ahead.
with a manly stomach.
Right?
She said unto them. You want me to jump to 27?
She said unto them, now jump down to verse 27.
Verse 27.
Right?
But she, bowing herself toward him, laughing a cruel
Tyrant.
to scorn,
Go ahead.
spake in her country language.
So
on
again,
this manner.
once again, holding to the heritage of her people. Go ahead.
O my son,
Right?
have pity upon me that bare thee 9 months in my womb,
Right. Go ahead.
and gave thee suck 3 years, and nourished thee, and brought thee up into this age, and endured the troubles of education.
The troubles of what?
Troubles of education.
Right. So what she's making a petition to her sons, like, listen, don't give in, don't give up, exhorting them. Remember, I brought you guys up. I went through the pains of education. Now, who had to deal with their kids during the pandemic? Now, you always got your kids at home, right? They're homeschooled anyway, right? Now, I'll say this. I had to have all my kids at home during the pandemic. And I'll give it to the teachers. I'll give it to them. Because a house full of children trying to sit there and learn math and reading, if your patience is not at the highest levels, right? Like, I literally had to have the Bible next to me and know a schoolwork next to me, so I wouldn't lose my mind. Literally, like, had to have the scriptures right next to me, read through Matthew's. Okay, bro, what's 3 plus 3? Right? Let me read 4 scriptures to get my mind settled. What's 4 plus 4? Like, it was on that level. My rib will tell you. She was there too, and it was like, man, like, educating your children, it's hard. It's not an easy task, and I can imagine doing 1, but 4, 5, 30, it's rough, right? But this woman said, and endured the trouble of education. Why was it a trouble? Well, because it wasn't easy. It wasn't an easy thing to sit your child down and get them to learn how to read. It's not an easy thing to sit your child down and get them to learn arithmetic, math, and all these different things.
It's arithmetic.
Math. Did I mispronounce it? Arithmetic. Arithmetic. Yeah, math. Right? It's not easy. From one person that tried to homeschool his children, it's not like I'm telling you. It was like 3 Bible verses, math problem. Read a chapter, math problem. Because your patience gets tested, because children are going to be children, right?
Yeah.
What they want to do, get up, they want to go pee. I'm tired, I'm sleepy, I'm hungry. They'll come up with every excuse under the book to not have to do that one math problem, right? You know it because you deal with it. But the patience, the troubles of education, it's a real thing where we literally sat our children down and taught them everything they knew. Right? Reading, math, that was one of them. The troubles of we educated them on life. There was no, let's go to daycare and mommy gets to, you know what I'm saying, do Pilates, get her nails done, have brunch, meet with the personal trainer. Like there was none of that stuff. It was wake up, children, right? Educate them. Get them ready for life, quote unquote. We didn't get our kids ready for life at 16. We didn't do the on your mark, get set, oh, you're 21, go. We did okay, you're born, you're off the breast, let's learn how to read. You can talk, you can see, let's go. Let's start educating you as early as possible to get you that head start. Let's get this reading in you. Let's get this math. Let's get this. Look at Daniel, right? And the 3 holy children. They were children. It said they were skilled above the whole king's court. But where did that start? When they were in their teenage years? That started from the very beginning, when they could comprehend,
Yeah.
when they can learn, when they can talk, when they can sit down but think about educating a child. It's far more than just 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 2 is 3. Isn't it being able to settle that child's mind to be able to even go through the work? Calming that child's hyperactiveness,
Okay.
right? Being able to deal with them in a way where they're not apprehensive to want to do what it is you're trying to get them to do. It's all these things that came into play that the women of our nation, they were highly skilled at, because we weren't dumb people, right? We weren't just a bunch of herdsmen, right? We all didn't just walk around with cattle. Like some people did that. Other people's, we were blacksmiths. We were all types of professions, right?
Yeah.
We did all types of different things to keep our societies going. We weren't all just walking around with herds in the field. That wouldn't make sense. Because then how would we get clothing? How would we get shoes? How would we get different houses made? And you had men that knew how to build tents. You had tent makers. To build a tent and all these different things, you got to learn how to measure. You got to know math, right? But where do these things get taught? Well, the troubles of education. This woman is letting us know that that's what she had to endure, right? Go from there. Go to Proverbs. Go to Nehemiah. Go to Nehemiah 13 and 23. And just putting this class together, it just showed me even more why the Most High instructed us not to deal with women of the other nations. Not to deal with women of the other nations. Now watch, read Nehemiah 13 and verse 23.
Book of Nehemiah chapter 13 and verse 23.
Go ahead.
In those days also saw I Jews that had married wives of Ashdod,
Right.
of Ammon,
Uh-huh.
and of Moab.
Right, so these women of the other nations. Go ahead.
And their children spake half in the speech of Ashdod,
Right.
and could not speak in the Jews' language.
Right, you see that? So the children did what? The children learned the language of their mothers. Because that's what a mother is supposed to do. A mother is supposed to instill in that child that language. Why? Because when she's nurturing, when she's breastfeeding, when she's swaddling, when she's changing diapers, what is she doing to her child? She does in silence. Change your diaper, right? No, might be singing a little tune to little old baby, right? You might be singing a tune. You might be, you speak. Oh, little baby, I love you. But how are you doing it? In a different language? No, you're gonna do it in the language that is customary to you, right? Because the women of any nation didn't matter. Didn't matter what nation it was. The women were the ones that handed down the language. If the mama spoke English, the child spoke English. If mama spoke English and Russian, what did that child learn? English and Russian, right? Your kids know how many languages? Right. Your kids know how many languages? Right. Spanish, English, Hebrew, right? Right. Spanish, English, Hebrew. Or Spanish, English, Hebrew, right? Because why? You speak that. The women, they know how to speak Spanish, they know how to speak a little bit of Hebrew, they speak English. So what do? You teach the children through example. You teach them through, sitting them down and like having them learn, right? But you'll use certain words and, in one language, if you have all three, you might say certain things in one language to them and then translate it to the next one. When they get in that butt whoop, what is it? What do they understand? But it's time to turn up. You get that butt whoop. What is it? Spanish or English? Or it's Hebrew. Okay, there it is. That's perfect. My kids get that la, right? They getting that, right? But the point is, the women were the gatekeepers to the educational system. Ask yourself this. Why do they always give you a female teacher? Way back in the day, it's more diverse now. But remember, I'm 40 plus, so every one of my teachers was all women. The only man teacher I had was the gym teacher, Mr. Such and Such with the whistle, right? Home ec was a woman. Math, woman. Science, woman. Greenhouse, woman. All my homeroom, language arts was a woman. But why? Why did they give you that woman educator? Y'all ever think about why? Well, just think about a woman's character and her nature. A woman's nature is to do what? Isn't it not to nurture? Isn't it not to think about your old math teacher from way back in the day? We all sucked at math. I know I did. Right? But I could go back and think about all my teachers and the amount of time and care they put in.
Yeah.
Right? But then I could go and think about my male teachers. They got frustrated with me quick. They're like, man, you failing. Get out of here. We ain't doing no extra work with you. But the female teachers, it's almost like it was naturally in them to say, no, hold up. Let me talk to you and try to bring it a different way. You're not understanding? Poor baby. You know what? Let's sit down and let's make a multiplication chart. And let's go over this. And I'm going to send you home with all the resources that you need. And I'm going to call your mom. And they came with that nice, sweet, soft teacher, motherly type voice. Why? Because you were going to respond to that, because that's naturally how a child was supposed to be taught, right? Because that tone and that level of nurture was instilling something in that child, whether it be man or woman, right, or boy or girl. It was instilling something in that child. That was a woman showing patience. Remember, these characteristics of patience and long suffering and meekness and humbleness, humility and grace. These things were naturally in our women until what? They weren't.
Yeah.
Right? Until we got around the heathen, we got into ourselves, we got prideful and said, I don't want to be like that no more. You see that? So they give you these women educators, especially, back in my day. I'm going back to I can still remember my third grade days and third grade teachers and all my female teachers. They would take that time, right? The whole class is going crazy and they would find a way to settle the whole class down without going berserk.
True.
She would smack the erasers together on the board or hit the ruler or so whatever she did, right? But she would get your attention and you would respect her, right? The women found a way to get that respect out of their students, just like a mom. But think about it, did your teacher ever have to beat you? Go crate? Oh yeah, I got beat by the teacher too, right? It was beating kids in America. Oh, Catholic school? Really? Damn, what school y'all went to? You got beat?
Get popped. Yeah, paddles.
Oh, damn.
Cut the holes in the paddle.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, y'all was catching them.
You go to Coach Blanks.
Y'all was catching them.
Football coach with.
Oh, he was
up in class.
the football coach would get you.
You go sit Coach Blanks, the football
Damn,
coach.
so he was strong. They didn't get no little
man.
wimp. They got the strong dude to beat you.
Cop strong.
Yeah. They used to get us in Jamaica with the rulers and stuff.
I caught belts in Jamaica.
Yeah. I know I definitely caught a few rulers.
Rulers,
Yeah.
belts,
Yeah.
sticks.
Yeah, then they stopped doing it in school. They made it illegal to stop paddling in school.
Right. Church and state, all that different stuff.
Yes.
Right.
That's when it went haywire after that.
Oh, it went crazy,
Yeah.
right? Because all you can do is talk, and then what do the teachers do anyway? They get frustrated and beat the kids up anyway, right? But back to the point. So what was going on with our people was the women that we married, no matter what nation it is, who you married is who was going to teach your children, right? So if you decided you was going to marry a woman of Chinese descent, guess what your kids were going to have in them? Chinese, right? If you married a woman of Indian descent, guess what your kids was going to learn? Them Hindu or whatever else they speak out there, right? Just by default. It was a default thing.
Yeah.
Y'all see this? So go from there. Go to Proverbs 31:1. Now y'all know about Proverbs 31, right? What's Proverbs 31? Especially when you get to verse 10, what's that instructing about? Who can find a what? Virtuous woman, right?
Yeah.
And you read that, you're like, damn, man, this brother's dropping some cold wisdom. This brother's dropping jewels on Lemuel, right? On old Samuel, Solomon, right? This brother, man, his pops is giving him all the wisdom. Psych. Read verse 1.
Proverbs chapter 31, verse 1.
Right?
The word of the king Lemuel.
Right?
The prophecy that his mother taught
The
him.
what?
The prophecy that his mother taught
Wait,
him.
who taught him about a virtuous woman?
The prophecy that his mother
Who
taught him.
taught him about her prices above rubies?
That his mother taught him.
Now, how did she teach him? Well, did she just sit him down and say, hey, son, this is the type of woman you need? Da-da-da-da-da. Partly. But also through what?
Wow.
Right, what?
By showing it,
By living it. By the example. Right? Him sitting back and saying, dang, my mom was a virtuous woman, and these are the things that she did. These are the things that she was responsible for. Now, I got beat at school, Davi. Everybody got beat at school. Jeez. Beat the train. We need to bring that back.
God.
Now, think about this. If a child learns early at these ages of 1 to 5 what type of partner or what type of relationship to be in, because they watch it. What do they watch? Well, they'll watch you argue, right? They'll watch you fight. They'll watch you do all these things, and they'll think what? It'll be burned in their psyche that this is how a relationship should be. Or they'll watch you be a virtuous woman. They'll watch you speak. It says in her tongue is the law of kindness. Right? She's speaking with wisdom. The kids will pick that up. How? Well, how you deal with them. How they're dealt with on a day-to-day basis. And they'll pick that up, and that'll be imprinted, right? That'll be imprinted in their subconscious for later. That's for later. We're gonna hold that for later. Right? Think about all your little serial killers, all your little TV shows where he's going around raping women and this, and what do they ask him? Well, I had mommy problems. I got mommy issues. My mom didn't love me. Right? Well, where did that start? It started from the beginning. Yeah. And it just imprinted into that psyche and is now carried all the way through life. So every interaction with a woman mimics mom's interaction or the interaction with mom. Why do you think they call some men mama's boys? Right? Why do they call a man a mama's boy? Why? A grown man. Why could a grown man be called a mama's boy? Or you got the ones, they call them baby boys. Right? Remember baby boy? What was his issue? Tyrese. What was his issue in that movie? Or what was the whole premise of that movie? What? He was irresponsible.
Depended on women to do everything.
Right, depending on women to do everything, but more importantly, he treated his relationship with his girl, with his wife, like she was his mom. Right? He treated her that way. The way his mom instilled things into his brain, he carried that over from this relationship to that relationship, and now he becomes this dependent grown man that's treating everyone. He treating Yvette, right? Yvette, like that's his mama. Can I get some money? Can I borrow your car? Can I live over here? Right? All that stuff. Right? That's how you, Mom, can I borrow the car? Mom, can I get $5? Mom, right? But those habits are developed. Why? Because it goes back to what the children see. And not just what they see, but how they're treated. Right? You had your hand up, Ashrai.
Melvin,
Right, Melvin?
he referenced back to what it was. He said it's the Oedipus complex.
Oedipus, right.
You want your mom to be your woman.
You want your mom to be your woman. But why though? Why do you want your mom to be like your woman? Well, because mom represents that nurture, that love, right? That unconditional love. Right? But what happens when that's taken too far? What happens when that nurture no longer is not, it's not a nurture that builds and grows that child, but it's now a nurture where that child is dependent. Or it's not instituted the right way, right? It's too much emotions behind it and not enough balance, right? I said it a few times in class that there's a difference between nurture and emotions. And sometimes we get the balance mixed up, and you think because the baby, he fell and cut his knee, that now you got to wrap his whole body in gauze, right? And you got to kiss his knee all the way until Christ comes back. No. Get him up, clean his knee up, right? Kiss the knee, baby, it's going to be okay, go back and play, right? Yeah. You nurtured him, but you also showed him that he ain't got to sit there and cry about everything for days on end. But if it's, oh baby, oh my God, and then you start crying because he got a cut, and then he looks at you like,
no crap.
Ah! Right? Think about it. When babies fall, their first instinct ain't to cry. Mm-hmm. Their first instinct, they're looking around like, who saw me? Right? Like, it's like, who got the Snapchat on me? Right? But then all of a sudden you overreact. Oh my God! And you get frantic, and then they do what? They start breaking out crying. Their first thing wasn't to cry. It didn't even hurt that bad. But the franticism that we can bring to a situation, they feed off of that. And if that's a constant in a child, they constantly see that coming from mom, then they're going to think, what? Well, that's how things are supposed to be. Right?
Okay.
Right. So just, touching on these few things, the language, the education. Go to 2 Timothy 1 and verse 5. 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 5. We always talk about women teaching. Women teaching. This is, I don't think y'all even get how detrimental what you teach is, and how detrimental it is to the posterity of your husband, to the children. It is the most detrimental thing. Read 2 Timothy 1 and 5.
2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 5.
Mm-hmm.
When I call to remembrance the unfeigned faith that is in thee.
Right, so this is Paul writing to Timothy, and he said, when I call to remembrance the unfake, that genuine faith that's in you. Go ahead.
Which dwelt first in thy grandmother.
Wait, where was it first?
Which dwelt first in thy grandmother.
He was going back and saying this faith, grandmama had this faith, this level of faith. Unchanged, unwavering, not fake. He didn't say grandpa. Grandma. Go ahead.
In thy grandmother,
Lois. Right?
And thy mother.
And then grandma translated that same mind state to who?
And thy mother.
To mom. Eunice. Go ahead.
And I am persuaded that in thee also.
Right. You see that? Now this is a man talking to another man saying, look, the faith that is in you, I seen that in your grandmama and your mama.
Yeah.
Where did Timothy get that level from? Well, he got that from them. Because why? They were the first examples of faith. They were going to be the first. Why am I saying it like this? Was dad not around? Yeah, dad was around. But him busy. Him busy. Man, listen. Papa is doing things for the house. Pop's in the gates. Pops is herding the sheep. Think about it. If you are a herdsman, let's just use the herdsman. If you a shepherd, you think you got a 1-year-old out there with you while you shepherding sheep? Hell no. We already went over a shepherd right the other day and what he had to go through. You ain't got no babies out there talking about I got to change diapers and I got to tend to the sheep. Nah, they at home with mom. Right? And mom is instilling in them all these different, not just carnal attributes, I'm saying carnal attributes, but these spiritual, the fruits of the spirit is what I meant to say, right? She's putting all these attributes into these different situations of guiding the house. 'Cause that's all it is. She's doing what she naturally does, which is guide the house, right? And then all these attributes like faith, like charity, like peace, right? And all these other fruits of the spirit. In order for that house to be guided the right way, they got to be there. But who's implementing to make sure? Right? If Pops is away off doing business, who's implementing to make sure? Well, it's mom. So the kids are going to see faith being worked first in mom. Right? They're going to see patience being worked first through mom. Right? Now, I want to leave y'all with this and put this in your ear. I know it's like, oh, well, what about the dads? Yeah, dad was around. He was around. But mom implemented, and then dad just came and reinforced. That's all it was. Right? Like the man is more of the disciplinary. The woman is more of the nurturer, right? So what was a man's role? To make sure that it was all in line. Right? It was all in line. The whole point was that when a man, now I'm going to kind of go into another little topic real quick. I'm going to dip in and then dip out. But this is why betrothal was so detrimental in our custom. Betrothing a woman for that year, right? Why that was customary and why that was part of the heritage. Because not only were you seeing if you were equipped to deal with this woman and the different things that she was going to come with spiritually. But you were going to see, is she a faithful? Go to Timothy's real quick. Go to what is it? I think it's 1 Timothy's. This fell into my brain. Hashem Yahushai. Faithful men. Right? What is it? Faithful men that can teach others.
Second Timothy 2:2.
Right, I'm here. Okay. So read 2 Timothy 2:2. This is what a man was looking for when he was betrothing him bride. This is my bride. This is my boo. Right? When he was going through that whole year's betrothal, you know what he was looking for? Faithfulness in this woman. But in this aspect, read.
2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 2.
Go ahead.
And the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses,
Right?
the same commit thou to faithful men,
To faithful women also, go ahead.
who shall be able to teach others also.
A man was looking to see, wait a minute, once I plant my seed into this fertile ground, because she is fertile, is she going to hold the faith that was given from her parents to her? Is she going to distill that down to our children? Or is she an infidel? Wait a minute. So, you can't wait to break away from your parents so you can just go do you? Nah, that ain't, damn sis, that ain't spiritual. That ain't biblical. Right? You just going along with everything just cause. But as soon as you get a chance to leave, all of a sudden you a loose cannon. This is why betrothal was so important. Because what were we looking for as men? Well, it wasn't that just a woman bared the seed or carried the seed or carried a man's baby. But if she was responsible for that baby for the majority of the 5 years, what did we want out of those children? Right? So betrothal. This is why it's important. Because you go find you owe some Joe Smo down the block. And like Kazaki likes to say, you get all willy-nilly with it. Right? You move all willy-nilly with no care. You lay with this woman, but you didn't vet anything that she was about.
Yeah.
And on the reverse, the man ain't being vetted either. Right? He ain't being vetted, so you don't know what he's ready to distill into your brain. But we're dealing with the sisters. So, this man meets a woman. He doesn't vet her. He doesn't take her to the different process. He don't test her patience. He don't put her through the obstacle course spiritually to see where she's at and what needs to be worked on. I just met her yesterday. Damn it, she's already pregnant? Con. We're in love. She speaks Hebrew. She said shalom. I said barakatah Yahweh. We both had on fringes. Our borders are blue matched. My beard was super long. Her head wrap was super tight. And now we in there. Now we make a happy woo! Right? Barakatah Yahweh. Right? Barakatah. Right? Because Yah is going to fight for us. No, Yah ain't going to fight for y'all. Yah is up there laughing at you like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you dealing with this woman if you don't know what she's about? Right? So read that one more time.
2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 2.
Go ahead.
And the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses.
Right, so what's being heard of this woman? Oh, well, she's a faithful sister. Really? Okay, well, we're going to have to see. 6 months down the line, all of a sudden, she's trying to serve Baal. You're like, wait a minute, I thought you was about the faith. Rebecca? Right? I thought you was about the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not your daddy's God. Right? Wait a minute. So, you a Christian? Damn, I thought you want to do Christmas. Right? You get with this woman, and all of a sudden Christmas comes up, and she's talking about, so the presents, you don't hear from her for like a few days, and then you like, man, what happened? Well, because you didn't give me no Christmas gift. I thought we was Hebrews. thought we was Hebrews. Wait a minute. Christmas gift. Right? Or, 6 months down the line, this Passover time, you hit her up, Shalom, sis, what you got going on? Oh, I'm just Easter shopping. Easter shopping? I'm looking for me for an Easter dress. Like, wait a minute. And thank God I waited for 6 months, right? You met her January 1st and you hit it January 5th, you messed up. You got to at least give it a cycle of holidays to see what this woman is into, right? 4th of July, sis, where you at? Oh, I'm at this barbecue with my friends and them. What you got on? American flag colors. Damn, I thought we was Hebrews, sis. Right? You go through all the holidays to figure out. You gotta let it run a course, man. Right? And you gotta see, okay, what is she gonna give into? What is she not gonna hold faithful to? Or what is she about? Oh, Valentine's Day broke her. Damn. Okay, sis, we gotta sit you down and talk to you about Valentine's Day. How evil that is. Oh, you out there drinking green beers because it's St. Patty's Day? Well, we don't do that. Right? You got to go through the whole year ringer of all the filth that they put out there to get our people stumbled on.
Yeah.
You got to dig into that. Oh, you about them stones? You just be rubbing rocks together? Oh, you burning sage? All that. Right? You walk up in her house. What's that smell? It smells like elephants. Oh, that's that sage. I was smudging. What? Really? That's what you... Oh, damn. Okay, so she ain't going to be the one. But you get a woman like that pregnant, it's a wrap for you. You trying to burn the incense, frankincense, and myrrh, and she's coming behind you and sprinkling sage on the top. You praying to Yahweh, and all of a sudden you got Asmodeus walking in the room. How do you get here? Because she going behind you, sprinkling sage dust, man, on the coals. Sprinkling pixie dust. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, I don't know how I got here, Rock. Well, because you didn't give it no time. And then now she's raising your kids. And what's the kid seeing? When daddy's gone, mommy lights the candle and puts the sage and then smudges on the walls and walks around chanting weird African language. Right? Daddy teaches Hebrew, but mommy is speaking Bantu or whatever. Right? Mommy is doing something different. But what is the kid going to be more adapt to pick up? Daddy? No, because nobody wants to be around a disciplinary. Everybody runs from the disciplinary. Everybody runs from the non-fun parent. Mom is the fun parent, right? Let you get all the candy, let you get all the fast food, and dad is like, no, go brush your teeth. No, go to bed. We're going to go to bed, go brush your teeth, go clean your room. That's my thing. Go clean your room, go brush your teeth, go to bed. Clean your room. 12 o'clock in the day, go brush your teeth and go to bed. Right? We're about trying to keep the things that are being instilled in order, right? Mom is more of the, okay, you've been beating my nerves down for the last 8 hours. I'm gonna give you what you want. Go, just here, take the sucker and go to your room, right?
I think we look more towards the future, and like, damn, like if we don't break this now, then we can see what the outcome is gonna be.
Yeah.
So we try to stop that outcome from happening from an early age.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did you so the things that we've heard among many witnesses. Go ahead.
The thing commit thou to faithful men.
Right. What is being committed to this woman? Well, her parents raised her right. Her parents gave her the laws. Her parents gave her the wisdom. Her parents were on, two parents raising. But why is she talking about bisexuality? Why is she talking about love is love? She grew up with two parents, grandmama, this, that, all these different things that promote a healthy, healthy home. Why is she veering? But that's what you got to wait for, the veering. We don't wait long enough to see what is she going to veer off into. And then when she starts to veer, guess who she's taking with her? Front seat passenger. Your kids in them. Read.
Who shall be able to teach others also.
Right. What is she teaching? We always pull this for men, but sisters too. Right? Go back. So 2 Timothy 1:5, he said, call to remembrance the unfeigned faith. Where did Timothy get that from? Well, that was instilled from Mama Lois and Grandma Eunice. Right? So, you can write the next point where I just wrote down women were the essential Women were essential to the goodness of the stock or the race. The women were the most essential part because you are who taught the stock. You are who taught the race. Go to Titus 2 and 3. Titus 2 verse 3. Just think about it. Think about this. When you take that little baby, right, and you put him, Kazak calls his baby Burrito Boy. It's funny as hell. When you take Burrito Boy or whatever you call your baby and put him close to latch onto your breast, you take his face, shove it into your boob, smother him, smack him up. You're going to drink this milk, right? Beat him down, smack him up, rough up the baby, choke him until he starts to drink, plug his nose. Do you do all of that? No, right? Who did that to their baby when they was breastfeeding? You plugged his nose so he could choke and you tried to shove the boob down his throat. No, you took his head, you held it a certain type of way, you positioned the baby's body, right? You even might have took off his clothes or her clothes to get that skin-to-skin warmth, right? And you took his head and you took your breast and you would rub the nipple, right, on the baby's mouth to get him familiar. Let some of the milk dribble down the top lip maybe to get a little taste. So he knows, okay, this is what it's about. Right? And then you might have to get a little bit aggressive. You might have to get a little, hold up, you're getting wild. No, hold up, boy. But you didn't break the baby's neck. Right? You didn't kick him down the steps. You didn't yell at him. Nigga, you gonna drink! Right? Drink! Ah! Right? Like, whoa, hold up, what's going on? Husband come running in the other room, babe, you good? Nah, I just killed the baby because he wouldn't drink the milk. Wait a minute. Damn, you should have vetted her. Her patience, her temper. I'm saying, y'all laughing, but just go look at the stories. Look at the stories of babies getting thrown against walls and babies shaking babies, right? Where they had to have commercials like, if the baby is too much, put the baby down in the crib and walk out the room. These are commercials that they got people doing to tell people if the baby just keeps crying, just put their ass down and leave. Because a crying baby is, wow, I tune them out. I'm like, oh, okay. You just gonna cry? Cool. Let's see how long your lungs last compared to my ears. My ears will last a lot longer than a baby's lungs. You'll cry yourself to sleep before I even notice you, right? But some people ain't built like that. They're like, man, you gonna shut up? And you're like, damn, you killed the whole baby because it wouldn't drink the milk? But that breastfeeding, that was the first form of nurture, right? On a physical sense. But there was supposed to be now this emotional bond that came from the baby nursing from his mother, right? And the rhythm of the suckling and all these different things that worked for both mom and baby. This is the first form, right? Then it transitions into other things. You bathe the baby and you caress the baby's skin and, you ain't like roughing the baby up when you bathing them. You're trying to be as delicate and hold them the right way. And think about it. Remember when y'all had babies and the nurses came in and they were trying to burp the baby for you? And they holding the baby and they're like, bam, bam, bam. You're like, what the hell? You're like, hold up, sis. Like, let me get my baby from you because you mad aggressive, right? And they're smacking the hell out of the baby on the back and you're like, dude, what are you about to kill the baby, right? I got him and they'll grab him and the baby's head is flopping and they're like, and then bam, bam, bam. You're like, oh, whoa, hold up. I need a new nurse, right? And you call it and you're like, I need a new nurse because this woman is too rough. Right? Because you're like, nah, this baby got to be treated delicate, right? It's a newborn. I got to make sure his head ain't moving around. I got to make sure I hold his neck. I got to make sure that when I put his clothes on, I'm not bending his fingers back and all these different things that you take care of. Why? Because you want to show the baby as much love and nurture and care as possible. But in doing that, what are you giving that baby? Those feelings, right? When you comfort a person, when a person comes in, just rubs your arm or helps you delicately put on a shirt or whatever it may be, it puts a type of spirit on you, a type of feeling on you. right? But if you're getting roughed up and they smacking you in the face with the shirt, you don't take your baby's onesie and just throw it in his face. Put that on, right? Take the diaper, smack him with it, put that on, and you just walk out. Why? Because they're gonna be like, what the hell? They can't put it on, right? It's not a form of nurture. It don't edify. It don't build that baby up at all. You see that? Your whole goal was, how do I bring this baby along with the most delicate care I could bring them up to? But then as soon as they turn one, it's like, nigga, please, you are on my nerves, go in a corner. And you yelling, screaming, kicking them, punching them, ignoring them. That's another thing, right? Read Titus. Read Titus 2 and verse 3.
Titus chapter 2, verse 3.
Oh my gosh, read.
The aged woman likewise,
Right?
that they be in behavior as becometh holiness.
Right, so the behavior towards the children had to be a behavior of holiness. It was a set apart level of behavior that you administered to a newborn and even your children in general, right? You kind of had a more of a delicacy with your children, a delicate touch, or any children, a real woman. Really, it don't matter what children it is. She's going to have a delicacy towards children, not just her own. Because she's not looking carnally like, oh, that's your baby, so I get to deal with them a certain way, but my kids are special. No, she's looking at all children, that they're children, that they're all special. They all need the same love and nurture and touch and care and tone. Something that sisters got to work on in here. I'm being honest. Like, just because it ain't your child don't mean you get to turn up on them. Right? And just because it ain't your child don't mean they don't deserve the same level of nurture, the same level of care that you would give your own. Y'all see that? That's very important. I observe and I'm like, wait a minute. I get that it's not yours, but so what? It's a child. Right? And you wouldn't want somebody to treat yours ill or do something out of character. So, read it one more time.
Titus chapter 2, verse 3.
Right?
The aged woman likewise, that they be in behavior as becometh holiness.
Right, they weren't picking and choosing who their behavior was towards. Their behavior was holy towards everyone. Read.
Not false accusers.
Go ahead.
Not given too much wine.
Right.
Teachers of good things.
Teachers of good things. Go ahead.
That they may teach the young woman to be sober.
Go ahead.
To love their husband.
Right.
To love their children.
Go ahead.
To be discreet.
Read.
Chaste.
Uh-huh.
Keepers at home.
And this is the point I want to get to. The keepers of the home. The woman was literally the gatekeeper of that home. I mean, we went through many classes showing explicitly that a woman guiding her home, literally, you're the spirit of the home. Right? A man can walk into that house after a long day, fighting the world, battling in the mall, fighting for his whole life, right? And he could walk into the house and then get into another battle, or he could walk into the house and be comforted. He could walk into the house and feel at ease. He could walk into the house and feel appreciated. Or he could just walk into the house and feel like, damn, I'm being attacked all over again. Let me go back. Let me just go to the bar this time. Right? I should have just slept in the car. Right? Should have just stayed in the parking lot.
Stay at the school.
Stayed at the school. Yeah, where you at? I'm at the school. We got drilling every day. Right? I got drilling all the way till tomorrow morning, sis. Shalom. Right? Keepers of the home or keepers at home. Well, why was this essential? Well, because if you got children, to love them, you have to be at home with them. You have to be at home instilling in them these essential qualities, right? These fundamental qualities, right? Because if she's at home but she's a drunkard, right? Giving the much wine and the baby's watching, what's the baby gonna think? It's about the wine, right? If she's not sober, well, the kids pick that up, right? If she's a false accuser, the kids pick that up. If she doesn't have any discretion, you know why they always say like kids, they'll tell the truth, right? Man, oh, he's fat. Well, that's not really a thing except for something that's taught. A child is taught to not have discretion by who teaches them. So if you're constantly, if they're sitting around and you're having conversations where you're talking about people being fat or talking about this or talking about that, guess what they're gonna do? Guess what they want to do? All children want to do is impress us, right? That's all they want to do. They want to feel like they're impressing and that they're appeasing daddy and mommy. So look, mommy, I'm gonna do what you do, right? So when they walk in the mall, I'm like, oh, he's fat. It's like, oh, damn. Okay, I got to stop talking about people. That's the first thing that should ring in your brain. Wait a minute. He's only around me. She's only around. I got to stop talking bad about people, right? Or I have to make sure that when I'm having certain convo, that the children are not privy to it, because all children are going to do is pick apart the parts that they don't understand and then take what they do barely understand and use it. So my conversation, right, got to be either I got to separate my children from that, or now if they do hear certain things, I got to take the time to explain, right? So I hope y'all are getting what I'm doing. I'm hitting a few different parts, like subtopics, while touching on major, like the keeper at home, right? What is she doing at home? Because that's where it starts. Your child's learning curve and nurture starts at the casa, yours. I don't want to hear you, oh, they learned it at school. No, they didn't. No, they didn't. And even if they did, okay, cool. But then did you defend their mind and teach them against it? Were you preemptive? Or were you proactive? Oh, they learned it at school. Now they got to unlearn it. So now you got to sit them down and say, no, son, don't curse people out. They should have learned that before they went to school. No, son, don't fight. Well, they should have been learning that before they went to school, not when they started doing it. But if they see you fighting, fussing, contention, just turmoil. Children can sense turmoil. Children can sense when things are not on the up and up, as you would say, right? They latch on to those emotions, right? Mom be in the corner crying, can't pay the rent, and she's trying to hide it. What's wrong, Mom? Why are you crying? Oh, nothing, son. I'm not crying. Mommy is just
Happy.
Huh?
Happy.
Mommy is this. Those are happy tears. But then why would you cry for happy? Like they start going into you, you can't hide. But now you start lying to your children. See, that's the game. No, mommy is not. No, but you are. You're at home now lying and showing your children how to lie. See, it's all these things that if you're not careful on how you move and your level of honesty and even being able to explain things to your kids and not having to go all the way into detail, but being honest with them instead of lying to them. Oh, I'm not crying, while you wipe the tears from your eyes. But they're watching you cry. So now you're showing them that when they're going through turmoil, hurt, pain, what's wrong? Nothing. But I see you crying. No, I'm not. My eyes are just watery. Don't ask me nothing. Phone. Phone. Siri. How do I get my parents to leave me alone? Right? That's what they be on. Right? But we're teaching these kids these things so early that by the time they develop into, young, I don't even want to say young adults or preteens. By the time they hit preteen, because preteen is basically 5 to 12, right? That's only 7 years, right? So 5 to 12 preteen, by the time they hit 10 years old, they're already an antisocial grown-up. They're a spitting image of you and your teachings, right? So what are you doing with the children when you're at home? The keeping of the home or the upkeep of the home ain't just you cleaning the walls and doing the same dishes over and over and, oh, well, I swept today, I kept the home. Because the home is doesn't just consist of the walls and the windows. It's the pieces that make a home, which are the people. You see that? It's the people. Right. Go ahead.
Good.
Right?
Obedient to their own husband.
See, these things, why do they got to be taught? Because they got to be taught. And if they're not being taught, that means the opposite is being taught. And who's picking it up? Kids love kids love seeing. I remember watching Kings of Comedy, and Steve Harvey was like, yeah, man, I used to hate church, but I used to love to go to church. When I found out they used to cuss in church, I'm like, that's all the reason why you went to church. But I thought about it, and I was like, damn, that's the only reason why I went to church. I wanted to see people just do weird dances. I didn't want to go to church for nothing spiritual. I wanted to see all the weird stuff, right? The weird dancing and the jumping around and people going crazy. Steve Harvey wanted to hear people curse, right? So what is it about a child? They're going to look for the thing that is not holy, that's not righteous, that's not pure, right? They're looking for the folly. Like it says, foolishness is bound in the heart of a child, right? They're looking for the foolish things to latch onto.
Yeah.
But if you're at home and you're giving them the foolish thing, then wait a minute. That's the problem. That's a problem. Right? Now we know, let me say this. We're in a day and age, right? We spoke about this. What day and age are we in? We're in a day and age where you need 18 incomes just to pay rent. Right? Just to buy food, you gotta have 30 incomes. So we get it that nobody's in this. I know, I mean, I can't do it. Where my rib could just sit at home and teach kids, right? But whose fault is that? Remember, because we didn't serve the Most High with joyfulness and gladness, for the one of all things, you're gonna serve your enemies. So now, you want your kids to learn something? They're gonna learn from your enemies through you. They're gonna learn from your enemies through you if you're not on point. So the time that you do, because think about it, it's even worse now that we can't spend the time with our kids. Especially a lot of you sisters that gotta work. You work through Benaya's whole little life, right? You work through your girl's life, right? They're what, 2 and 3, right? Right? You work through your right. So think about it. Wouldn't it be even more important for the little time you do have with them to make sure that you're instilling in them the proper, I'm going to use the word heritage, right? The proper inheritance, the proper standard, the proper way of doing things. Especially if your time is limited. Well, I'm always at work, so I can't teach them. Well, what about when you're not? What are they seeing from you? That's the important thing, right? Go from there. Go to Tobit 4 and 12. Smell like Gucci guilty. Yeah, it does. That's what I smell. Tobit 4 and verse 12. Read.
Tobit chapter 4, verse 12.
Right?
Beware of all whoredom, my son.
Right?
And chiefly take a wife of the seed of thy father.
Go ahead.
And take not a strange woman to wife.
See, here it comes back again. Take not a strange woman. Because there was something about a strange woman. Well, really, it wasn't about the strange woman or the Israelite woman. It was just something about women. They were going to teach what they were. They were going to teach what they were. You know what's cold? You got all these single-ass women, right? These single mothers. They hate their baby daddies, but they teach their sons to be their baby daddies. What sense does that make? You hate the nigga you laid with, but all you're doing is teaching your son through your example how to be like his dad, to be the type of man you hate. Because women are going to teach, regardless of the situation. You're going to teach things, right? It was literally another. It was something that the Most High instilled in men and women to teach, right? Because men taught too, but the women, it was instilled in y'all to be the first line of nurture and teaching to your children. So you were going to teach. Go ahead. So didn't matter if it was a strange woman or an Israelite woman. The strange woman was just going to teach her strange customs. She was going to teach her strange customs to an Israelite child. That's why the Most High said, or one of the reasons why the Most High said, don't deal with them. Right? Now you got to ask yourself, you're supposed to be an Israelite woman. What strange customs are you leaking off to your children? If you're supposed to be the Israelite woman and the standard and the administering of culture and heritage and duty, right? The first dispensation of giving this to this child. Well, are you giving them duty? Are you showing them faith? Are you showing them responsibility? Or are you showing them dereliction of duty? Are you showing them laziness? Are you showing them lackadaisical, not caring, too busy to do the right thing, not going to stand up for the right thing, too preoccupied with the wrong things? Go ahead.
And take not a strange woman to wife,
Read.
which is not of thy father's tribe.
Go ahead.
For we are the children of the prophet.
He said what?
We are the children of the prophet.
And what are the children of the prophets, or excuse me, what did the prophets teach? Well, Noah wasn't out there teaching strange things, right? Noah wasn't out there preaching the book of Enoch, right? Moses wasn't out there preaching the book of Jubilees. Moses was preaching the law of the Most High. Noah, Jeremiah, Isaiah, they all taught what the Most High was instilling. So he's saying, look, we're all children of the prophets. Go ahead.
No, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Go ahead.
Remember, my son, that are fathers from the beginning.
Right.
Even that they are married wives of their own kindred.
Why? Why? Well, because if I married a woman of my own kindred, more than likely, she was going to keep the same heritage. So now, after I vetted this woman and betrothed and did all those different things, right, before I lay with her and had kids with her, now I could literally step away and entrust her to do what?
Teach them the right way.
Yeah. I don't got to micromanage. I don't have to sit back and, so, okay, I need you to run me through every single thing you taught my baby today. Walk in the house. Wait, hold up. Where did you learn this from? This is not what I told you. This is not what you learned. A man could entrust that the woman of his kindred was going to teach the things that were handed down from the prophets. And he could go about his damn business and do what? The things that men do. Right? He can, if he's about the temple, he can do that. If he's tending the sheep, he can tend the sheep and not be sitting up talking about, damn, and I wonder what she's over here teaching my baby. Because every time I come home, man, this dude, I walk in the house and the nigga got a dress on. Like, what? Hold up. Wait. The scripture say don't wear what a woman don't wear what pertains to a man and vice versa. So now you got to worry about in the name of cuteness. Oh, it's so cute when your son walks around in high heels or a purse. I know he's looking like, what the hell are you saying? Well, because the way women, and not just women, but the way society disguises bad behavior, like little kids wearing dresses and wearing their mother's high heels, they disguise it as, oh, it's so cute. And they make you look at it like, oh, it is so cute. He's walking around in pumps with a purse to match. But that cuteness does what? Starts to instill in that little boy. Oh, so everybody loves me when I wear a dress. I get all the snaps. I get all the photos. Mama wants to bring the camera out and give me attention when I'm in a dress and in her shoes. So now I'm going to dress up like a girl all the damn time because I want that attention. Right? And then, so in order to get any attention, that's what I got to do? But then think about it. Think about the negative attention. Look at Dwayne Wade's son. He getting all the backlash, all the negative press. They done put him on the chopping block. All in the name of what? Recognition? All in the name of individuality? They got this dude out there in a dress talking about cutting off his privy members. All for what? For him to be an individual? So they disguise things in the name of, oh, it's so cute, it's so innocent. He's only a baby. Yeah, but those baby years are the most detrimental. That's when he's going to figure out how to garner and keep attention. Oh, mama, so twerking got me all the attention, and mom videoed it and then sent it to all her friends, and mom keeps talking about it. I'm gonna just be a twerker for life. Then you wonder why, like when she's 16 and now she's twerking for real. twerking through the whole high school. Right? Pole to pole. Then all of a sudden, she's a stripper. Well, we raised her in a wholesome Christian background. We don't know how she became a stripper. Well, nigga, because you was filming her at 3 years old twerking and talking about it. You made it seem like, huh?
Probably filming them laughing.
Yeah, that's the thing. You filming her, you laughing. Oh my God, look at my baby, y'all. You twerking with her. Then it's on Facebook. Right? And then they see that all. Look, and then you show, girl, look, everybody loves you. Look at all the likes I got. Look at all the likes mama got because you was twerking. Of course she going to be a stripper. Because it's being instilled in her early that what? To get attention from people. To get attention from guys. That's what you got to do. Because mom ignores you the whole other time. Mom too busy for you any other time. Right? Mom, I'm busy. Mom, I'm busy. Mom, but I'm busy. But if you're ready to twerk, I got you. As soon as she brings out the phone. So it's a bad level of, it's a bad teaching that's happening. Right? Where you at?
Tobit chapter 4 verse 12.
Right, finish it up.
And were blessed in their children.
Right, so they married wives of their kindred, and the blessing came through the children. Why? Because now we didn't have to sit there and fight for what was going to be the learning curve of the children. You think the prophets had time to sit there and fight with women over Christmas or Passover? Well, I'm talking about Passover. Well, I don't care what you're talking about, brother. My kids are going to be celebrating Christmas. You think they was fighting, like fighting over these things? You think Jeremiah and Moses, you think Moses had time to worry about, wait a minute, so my kids, so they're going to be Egyptians or they're going to be Israelites? Because I got a whole nation to go save. So what are we doing? So, all these prophets, man, that had children and all these great, you think David had time? David out there fighting wars and running from Saul. You think he had a baby on his back? Solomon on his back running from Saul? No. Solomon was with his damn mama. And Solomon and all the other kids, if Solomon was even around at that time. But you see my point. The kids were with their mom, and it was up to mom when dad was out to ensure that the heritage was being handed down so that those children could be blessed. I'll show you. Go to Ecclesiasticus 26 and 19. Ecclesiasticus 26 and 19. Read it.
Ecclesiasticus chapter 26 verse 19.
Go ahead.
My son, keep the flower of thine age sound.
Right.
And give not thy strength to strangers.
He said, give not your strength to strangers. Right now, I want to jump back to something real quick. If I'm not mistaken, doesn't it say this in Proverbs also? It says, give not that. It says, give not your that destroy of kings. Proverbs 31 and 3, right? Give not thy strength. Right. Now this one says, give not your strength unto women, right? So a little different subject, but right here, give not your strength unto strangers. Read on.
Verse 20. When thou hast gotten a fruitful possession through all the field.
Right, speaking of, it's allegorically speaking of a woman. She's that fruitful possession, right? She's that field out of all the fields. I'm surveying the land, and that's the field that I want to put my flag in, right? Go ahead.
Sow it with thine own seed.
Sow it with your own seed, right? Bring forth your lineage, bring forth your heritage. Go ahead.
Trusting in the goodness of thy stock.
But where does that goodness of stock come from? Where does the administering of the information for that stock to be pure and blessed? That comes from y'all, from the sisters, from the women, from the education down to what the children are eating. Just think about it. If mom is on the run busy all the time, right? But she got the kids with her, and they're always running around, and she's busy, and she's not able to cook on a regular basis, right? But hey, we're gonna stop over here and grab some McDonald's. We're gonna stop over here, and the next day, I'm busy. I ain't got time to cook, but the kids gotta eat. They gotta eat. I'm gonna stop over here, next fast food spot. And if you make that a habit 4 days out the week, what's gonna be implanted in those children's brain? What's gonna be in their head when you cook dinner? Hell no, I don't want that. Nigga, I want the Golden Arches. I want Raising Cane's. I want Wendy's. I want all that stuff, right? Because now I've been predisposed to think that food is fast food, and that the only way you eat is if it's on the run, right? And then that builds a whole nother level of thinking in the kid's head. Remember the days when we used to sit at the kitchen table? Do we even need kitchen tables anymore? Right? You might as well just sit at the couch. Who needs a kitchen table anymore? But the kitchen table was a place where a lot of families would sit down and be able to talk. Right? No phones. You said what?
Discuss the day, find out what happened at school, find out what happened at work.
Yeah, but you know what the coldest part is? I'm gonna let y'all come in. Watch any Edomite TV show. And guess what they're doing at that kitchen table? Well, we ain't sitting and talking. No phones, right? Get your elbows off the table. Joey, no, stop chewing with your mouth open, right? Stop playing with your peas. Like, they're still on that. They still push that for their people. We lost that with the Cosbys, right?
You know what's funny is
The Cosbys, huh?
I can remember sitting around the kitchen table at one point, but it was only on Sundays.
Sunday dinner.
And then I remember like my dad wouldn't even sit with us.
Yeah, he busy.
Like he would just wait till we're done and then he'll come
eat. He ain't trying to deal with the talk.
Yeah.
Well, Tanya, sis, what were you gonna say?
I was just thinking, when I was growing up, my brother and I, it was mandatory that we sat at the table every single night and we had dinner, and it's almost the most scariest time of the day because we talked about what happened at school or any time.
Oh yeah, that was when Pop sat across from you, and Pops ain't doing nothing but eating. He eating a big piece of chicken, and you sitting there trembling.
So what happened at school today?
Right? Yeah, he chewing slow. He barely look up.
He know already.
Yeah, he already know. Right? He already know. He got the phone call. Setting for your ass, right? And he knows, right? But the problem is it that we can't do those things? Of course we can do those things, but there has to be a collective mind to say, you know what, these things got to be instituted. But if everybody's running around and mom's is over here doing this and dad got to run and go do this, half the time there ain't no dinner sitting down collectively. Sometimes it is going to be pizza, right? Oh, what we going to grab some pizza, right? Grab some pizza, grab this, grab that, fast food, but there has to be more of a push, right, to be able to get back to the essential things. Because this is the point. If you teach your child early about eating fast food, well then don't be surprised when they're 5 years old and overweight. That's one. Don't be surprised when they get to 10 years old, they got asthma, high blood pressure, hypertension. Don't be surprised if they die before you do. Right? And then don't be surprised when now your little daughter is looking for a husband and ain't nobody trying to deal with her because, listen, men are getting smart again. Right? We're demanding like women that know how to cook, clean. We're like, even niggas in the street is looking for that. They like these thoughts over here. These chicks, these boss chicks ain't doing nothing. Right? They're not doing nothing. So cats is getting back to like, wait a minute, I need a home cooked meal. So if they can't do the basic thing like cook a meal for their man when the time comes, or clean a bathroom or clean a house or whatever the case may be, they're gonna die alone. They're just gonna be alone. Lone wolf. But essentially, you're really setting them up for that failure because you're not showing them about, come on, what does eating at a kitchen table represent when you all do it together? Gathering, community, right? Why didn't your dad not want to do it? Well, selfishness, right? Not able to deal with the problems when they needed to be dealt with. Typical Jew male, right? Where we try to avoid the problems and not want to deal with them. Non-confrontational, right? So trusting in the goodness of the stock. Well, if the children are the heritage of the Lord, then that stock should be good, but it's up to us to ensure that that stock, that the race, that the bloodline, that there's a level of purity, that there's a level of holiness and righteousness. And remember, it all comes from mom. Now, I'm going to read this real quick. Read 21.
Verse 21. So thy race which thou leavest shall be magnified.
Right, but why is our race damn near trampled over? Why is the race of black, Hispanic, and natives? Why are we looked at as dirt and dung? Well, it's easy. It's easy. Look at the children. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Right? But look at them. And, you know, you can look at them and see the things that lack. Now, I'm going to read this real quick from, this is the McClintock and Strong Biblical Cyclopedia. Now, all I did was look up woman. That's all I did was look up woman. And I just wanted to see what it was going to say. I didn't know what it was going to say. Right? Looked up woman. I scrolled down a little bit, and then it goes into, like, teaching children. It was actually there. Right? Now, this Biblical Cyclopedia kind of gives you insight into the traditional things of how the Hebrews moved and the things that we did. And people of the Bible and those ancient customs, right? So it says, the woman, it says the child continued about 3 years at the breast of the mother. So a child was literally, typically breastfed until about 3 years old, right? It says, and a great festival was given at the weaning. We seen that with who gave Isaac gave a festival.
No,
Abraham gave right. He gave a festival for Isaac when he was weaned.
Yeah.
It wasn't his birthday. It was just, hey, he's off the breast. He could eat solid food. He passed one stage of his life. That was around the age of 3. Then it says, he remained 2 years longer in the charge of the woman. So this right here tells you, 1 to 5, sisters, all you. Breastfeeding, weaning, teaching, but then he remained in the charge of the woman another 2 years. Why? Because at 3, he's still bouncing around, hitting walls, right? You couldn't get him out nowhere at 3 years old to go do anything. He wasn't really a help, right? A child at 2, 3, 4, they're more of what? It's still a liability as far as needing to what? Be potty trained, needing to be fed, needing to be catered to, right? Then it says, after which he was taken under the special care of the father with a view to his proper training. So, one of the perfect stories that highlights this is the story of Samuel. Remember, it said that his mother kept him until he was weaned. And then, when he was at an age, she took him to the priest. And they trained him to be a priest, right? Now, if she didn't make that vow to give him to the priesthood, he would have went with his dad after he was weaned. And he would have been what his dad was. Whatever profession his father was in, right? Remember, we weren't all priests at that time, right? We weren't all at part of the priesthood because you had the priests. You had the Levites, right? So you had men with many different professions. So if his dad was a tent maker, guess where he was at the age of 5? Sitting there with daddy, right? Sitting there with daddy, getting the early stages of his training to take on the family tradition, take on the tent making. When you look at some of the apostles, they were fishermen, right, by trade. And some of them were with their father. Now, if you think about it, did they learn to be fishermen when they were old men? No, more than likely, they got to the age of 5, where they were more coherent, where they could actually, a 5-year-old, you can tell a 5-year-old certain things and they'll help, right? They'll be more of a help. They're still curious. They still want to know things, but they are curious. And they ask questions. And you're able to say, no, this is what it is. Dad, how come the water is blue? Well, son, because the firmament, right, and the water above the firmament, right? So now dad is giving son, like, literal creation story, because what is a child asking about? Dad, where do fish come from? Where do bees come from? You know, what is this? What is that? Right? And then dad is doing what? Giving them life, but he's also giving them the trade. You see that? Yeah. But what was mom given those first 5 years? Well, the emotional balance. So you can't be out there being a damn crybaby, right? Think about it. Think about all the great men that went through this process. David was a warrior. He had 70 mighty men, right? You look at all these high priests that were warriors that'll kill a nigga in a second. But if they started out being overly emotional and effeminate, we might have not had a David, right? Can you imagine David running on the battlefield with his wrist broke, can't swing his sword? He's swinging his sword like, right? Because that wrist. Because mom put too much sugar in that tank. Because mom gave him in the form of too much emotional imbalance. Too much not correcting his movements when he moved, right? Mm-hmm. He's floating across the floor like a deer, and mom is like, no, you need to walk like a man. But see, those things are picked up early. Where mom was still correcting son and daughter. No son, no daughter. You moving, why are you so loud? Right? Why are you so aggressive? You 5 years old, why are you yelling at your brothers? No, you know what you're going to do? Serve your brothers. Bring them a cup of water. Make their plates. Go clear their table. You 5, but so what? That's what the women were being taught, right? They were being taught how the balances from mom, but then dad would come through now, give the life skills, the trade, but then also balance it out. If it was a boy, guess what he's doing? He's building up that manhood in him, that manliness, that courage, right? He's taking it to the next level. If it was a daughter, more than likely she stayed with mom, right? And those effeminate traits, those feminine traits, right? Femininity, grace, dignity, humility, soft answer, soft tongue, wisdom, knowing when to speak, submissiveness. Those things were instilled in the daughter through mom. Now, go to Jeremiah. You know what I hope y'all are doing as I'm going through all of this? I hope y'all are taking account of the world and saying, damn, well, the world is pushing boss chicks, right? The world is pushing independent women, strong, not just strong, an independent woman, right? I don't need this, I don't need that, I don't need nobody. They don't even say I don't need no man no more. They don't need nobody. But they push that, but they push effeminate boys, emotionally fractured boys, right? That as soon as they get into a problem, what happens? They lose it, right? Take your mainstream athlete and put him in a situation where it's a little bit adverse. He's going to do one of two things. He's either going to throw money, like he's in the club, or he's going to shoot somebody. Because that's all they teach athletes, is to throw money or shoot people or fight. Fight in the wrong situations. I just watched a video of T.O. beating up some damn bum. Terrell Owens. I'm like, nigga, he was a bum. Why are you fighting him for? Why you square? You a 6'6", 250 pound man fighting some little 5'4" dude. For what? All you have to do is look at him and say, you know what? You ain't worth my time. I'm out. But he fought him in the middle of CVS, in the front door of CVS. Why? Because he's I remember I used to watch. He used to have a TV show, and I'm like, damn, this dude's emotional. He's emotional as hell. He's an emotional dude.
He was emotional on the field.
He was emotional on the field. He was emotional in the locker room, crying, "Oh, my quarterback!" Right? Right? But why? Because this is what is being pushed on the men. So there's a reverse thing. So Jeremiah 17:4. Read that.
Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4.
Go ahead.
And now even thyself
right
shall discontinue from thy heritage.
Well, why are we discontinuing? Well, what are the children being taught? That's the question. When you're the keeper of the home, sisters, what are you administering to your children? knowingly, most importantly, unknowingly, subconsciously. Right? When you think that they're not looking and they're not listening, and you want to buck up, you want to rebel, you want to have a certain spirit and demeanor about you. Don't you think they pick up on that? Let me ask y'all a question. And y'all can be honest, or y'all can lie. Do y'all ever see where when the children are around the men, they're a little bit more settled emotionally, and then as soon as the women get around, they start crying? Y'all ever see that? Why? Why is that? I'll be honest, it happens in my house, right? My kids will be sitting there having a jolly old time, right? And they'll get the things that they want. They're sitting there, they're just chilling. They're not really caring about too much either way it goes. And my rib will walk in the door and they just start, ah! And I'm looking at her like, they weren't doing this all day. Right? They weren't doing it. Like, you be on the phone with me during the daytime, right? Mm-hmm. Has anybody called me during the daytime? Yeah, right. Yeah. And do y'all hear my kids going crazy in the background? No, only at certain times. 12:45, right? And maybe early in the morning, if you call me early enough, you hear a little bit of crying and whimpering because they're hungry. And at 12:45, it's nap time. 1 o'clock. So they, the little one crying for a bottle. Manashah, he's getting fussy because he don't want to go lay down, right? Even though he's tired. But in between, it's like I don't even have kids. It's weird. They don't be crying. They don't cry. Now, we were at the house today. She was off, right? And you would think that somebody was abusing these kids. Because as soon as she looks at one to go do something, he's wilding out. Ah, ah, oh my God. And then the other little baby warrior, she starts losing it. Ah, and I'm like, yo, what are y'all doing? Like, what's up with that? Right? But what is it about the children that they know about the women? Huh?
They're emotional.
Yeah, but what is it that they know about these emotions? What, sis?
I know that the mom usually caters to the.
Yeah. Dad will sit there and let you cry and be like, tough luck. You got a bottle, you changed. You need a little bit of alone time. You need to be independently free. Go play with your blocks, right? Go draw. Go write your name, right? Mom is, oh no, something's wrong. But there's nothing wrong. But no, there's something wrong. Huh? But there's nothing. But they're crying. Well, they're supposed to cry. That's part of children. That's how they communicate. Yeah. Right? Especially when they ain't got words, they're gonna cry, and they're gonna cry knowing that they only do it knowing that mom is gonna run to the rescue. Right? They don't do that with dad or certain other people because they know that's not gonna fly with them. So children know how to play on certain things that are imbalanced. They know how to play on these things. They're not stupid, but they pick it up from what? They pick it up from us. They pick up the imbalances and know this is what's gonna get me the attention. This is what's gonna get her to come pick me up. If I yell and scream loud enough, she's going to, if I do this, she's going to do. They know that. You see that? They're because they learn what? While they're learning and developing their personality, that's part of their personality, is to know what buttons to push and how to get attention. Y'all see that? Right. Now it says what? Discontinuing from our heritage, right? Well, it happens through subconsciously not being able to balance out the different emotions in the children. An emotional boy is no longer an Israelite. Sorry. Because we weren't just emotional men. Right? A self-willed woman is no longer an Israelite. Because our women weren't, look at Rebecca, look at all these other women. They weren't just self-willed, masculine dudes running around. Right? So you discontinue from the heritage that we carry, that grace. Right? That a woman was supposed to carry herself in. That there's a level of masculinity. I'm not saying being a brute. But that masculinity that an Israelite man was supposed to carry himself in. Right? You take yourself out of that when things are imbalanced. You remove out of that level of heritage, along with all the other things, right, that are not being taught, if not being taught well, the diet, right? How many kids in here how many people's kids in here like to eat vegetables? I know mine don't. But see, I be tricking him. You know why? I never let him not get vegetables. That's the thing. He's too young to even know what a vegetable is. He just knows food. I'm like, bro, sit down and eat your food. He's like, what? I'm like, no, just sit down and eat it. And he'll sit there, cry tears, and I'm like, I don't care, bro. We gonna, right? You gonna cry. So when he cries louder, that's a scoop of food down his throat. I'm not gonna let you trick me out of you understanding the things that you have to eat. So right now, you just got to eat them, right? You're gonna have to deal with that. But we can sit there and say, oh well, let's cater to them, and let's supplement the diet with these other things. But then, what are they gonna grow up and do? That's where they're gonna be at McDonald's. You ever wonder why a kid knows about the Golden Arches before they're even able to walk and talk? You be driving in the car and they're pointing. You're like, what the hell are you pointing to? And they pointing to McDonald's. They pointing to Burger King. They pointing to the little redheaded girl in Wendy's. And you're like, wait a minute, huh? Well, because they're so used to you pulling up at the drive-thru. They remember what it tastes like, them fries, right? I remember, so the other day, Noah, he won a little thing from school. They give him like this little pass to get like a free Whataburger. So I took him and Manasha to get Whataburger. And in Manasha, he don't eat meat, so he could eat those fries and onion rings. Tell me why the next day he's like, Dad, I'm hungry. Oh, can we get fries? I was like, okay, that was a mistake. Them fries are too good. Them fries are too good to be trying to show him those fries at 2. Because that's all he's going to want, right? But he's like, the next day, like, the fries are on his mind. He's like, can we get fries? I was like, oh, snap, nah. He about to be a monster, right? So here goes this cucumber. Here goes these vegetables, right? I was watching this thing on YouTube, and it says that we're the ones that show our kids everything. And there was a mom and a dad, and they had their kids sit in front of the TV, and they put on Nicki Minaj. They were like, and their kids are like probably 7 and 8, something like that. They were like, who is this? They were like, we don't know. And they put on like NBA, like all the famous rappers, Future. The kids were looking at them like, we don't know who the hell that is. We don't know who Future is. We don't know who Nicki Minaj is. We don't know who Cardi B is. Now, can we be honest? If I put on a certain song right now, how many kids will start getting up and start dancing because they know who it is? Or they just know the song? Let's not cap, right? We all guilty. Because we are the ones that administer the learning. We're the shield. Your kids don't have to know who Nicki Minaj is. But as soon as you open that door, guess what? It's gonna be Bodak Yellow all day. Your kids don't have to know who Ice Spice is and who Future is. But as soon as you open the door to Future, it's gonna be Molly Percocets. Because it's not gonna stop with Future. It's gonna be like, well, wait a minute. What's he talking about? What's a Molly and a Percocet? Well, don't worry about that, son. Oh, well, guess what? I'm going to find out somewhere else. You see how that goes? The influence, the things that we allow is what we allow. Right? So if we allow Future, if we allow Cardi B, if we allow America, if we allow Christmas, if we allow tight dresses, if we allow this, if we allow that, then guess what? We lost our heritage. That's a way to discontinue real quick. Now, ask yourself this. What the hell is the point of us being here if the kids ain't? Now, I get it. I'm not talking about here physically right now, right? Because the kids got school, but I mean here, right? What's the point if you're here striving, fighting, or fronting, right? Capping, feigned, fake. Either way, you here, right? What's the point if you're not bringing the kids along and saying, hey, sit down. This is why you can't do certain things instead of finding ways to cater to them. What's the point? What's the point of trying to find ways to cater to foolishness and not saying, wait a minute, hold up. This ain't what you about anyway. This is not what you should be about. You see what I'm saying? It's easy to try to want to assimilate our children into this whack world because they got to be a part of it. Because they got to go, they go to school, they do all these different things, right? But are we sitting down and saying, well, yeah, school is one thing, then all the extracurriculars are another, where you don't have to partake in that. You don't have to feel like you got to be a part of that, right? Prom and homecoming and all that crap that got half the black women in America pregnant, right? Homecoming was not a good experience for a lot of our women. That's where they got turned the hell out at. Prom. Damn, it happened to... So when did you get prom night? Oh, okay. I thought he loved me. Why? Because he picked you up in the limo? Yeah. Oh, okay. Right? But then why are we ushering our children into these things and not even prepping their mind? It's one thing if you're going to put them out there. It's another thing to teach them about being out there. You see what I'm saying? And then this is what happens. Go to 2 Esdras 5 and 8. Go to 2 Esdras 5 and 8. Don't get this work.
2 Esdras chapter 5 verse 8.
Go ahead.
There shall be a confusion also in many places.
Yeah, and that's the problem with our people. Confused as hell. Not knowing which way to pick. Right? What was the scripture you went to the other day about being in between two, is it in Kings, where he said, how long will you be between two burdens? Or two thoughts? Basically, how long you going to play the fence or be double-minded? Right? How long are we going to do that where 1 minute we are Israelite, the next minute we're not an Israelite? 1 minute I'm holy and righteous, pure daughter of Zion, and I want to be treated as such. But then the next minute I just want to be a hoe. I want to be out there like the rest of the women. Like, which one do you want? You can't get upset if you're treated one way and moving another way. Right? My children eat some vegetables, not all. Right? I mean, they don't business to fall back from the babying at 3 so they would be okay. Okay, come school time. Right. What was it?
It was 1 Kings 18:21.
Right. Read it real quick.
It's 1 Kings chapter 18 verse 21.
Right.
It says, and Elijah came unto all the people and said, how long halt ye between two opinions?
Yeah, how long are we going to be halted between the opinion of the Bible and the opinion of the world? How long are you going to wrestle with these things and still trying to make up your damn mind of what it is that you're supposed to instill in your children? Well, you're here, sisters. Right? So, what the hell are you waiting on? Why are you tossed between two opinions? The standard of the Bible and the lack of standard of the world, that shouldn't even be an equation in your brain. Because y'all know what the lack of standard in the world does to you. You felt it. You got regrets from it. You got scars from it. You got hurt from it. You got pain from it. You got this. You got that from it. Now, ask yourself this. Do you want to be responsible for the scars in your children? Your daughters? Your sons? Because that's all it's going to end up. I mean, come on. Don't we got proof? Look at all the little niggas running around talking about on Dwayne Wade's son's level. Where do you think they got that from? Where do you think they got that opinion from? Well, it was two things. Not having a good father around and then having only mom teaching them worldly things. All the drugs, all the killing, murdering, stealing, all those different things. All the and that's major, right? We look at that's major offenses. Okay. Well, what about the atheists that don't believe in the Most High because mama didn't instill faith and trust and belief in the Most High? Because mama didn't exhort him in his time. But she said, you know what, son? Go get it how you live. You know what, son? Here's the gun. Go out and get it. You got to provide for the family. You the man now. What about that? So it ain't just murdering, killing, stealing, robbing, but it's any immorality that's in our people. Read on. Where you at?
2 Esdras chapter 5 verse 8.
Right?
There shall be a confusion also in many places.
Go ahead.
And the fire shall be off, then out again.
Go ahead.
And the wild beasts shall change their places.
Go ahead.
And
and menstruous.
And menstruous woman.
Think about a menstruous woman. It says menstruous woman will do what?
Shall bring forth monsters.
Think about a menstruous woman, man, that's really going through her menstrual. What do they always say about the type of women? Time of the month, don't be around her. Right? Don't be around her. She turned into a beast. Why? Because what is she riding on? Emotion. The feeling, the pain. Right? The pain in her body. She's riding on that, and that's the catalyst. But it says menstruous women will bring forth monsters. Why are the children monsters now? Why are they little rascals now? Well, it goes back to what are they learning? I'm going to list off a few things, right? What do the children learn? They learn how to be hateful. They learn how to be hateful. They learn how to be argumentative. They learn how to be backbiters. They learn how to be tattletellers. They learn how to be gossipers because they'll listen to you get on the phone and talk bad about the next sister. And they ain't listening because guess what you did to pacify them? Here, shut up. Take this. And you'll... Coco Melon. Dun, 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 dun. And they hearing little big-headed Coco Melon white boy talk about whatever the hell they're talking about. They're seeing their little white daddy and mommy loves them, but then they hearing mom spew hate in the front seat. Right? We spoke about the emotions. They'll see disrespect. They'll see frantic mind state. They'll see franticism in us. In the sisters. They'll see that. They pick up on it in your interactions with people. Every interaction that your child observes, that's them taking account of how I should act next time. So if they see mom in the grocery store wilding the hell out with or talking slick to the person that made a mistake with the groceries, guess what they're gonna think? I can down talk people, right? If you go to the restaurant and you talking bad to the server, guess what they develop? Like, oh, that's my underling, right? So I can talk bad to the server. I'm privileged. This is where they develop these things. You be sitting back wondering, like, well, how the hell is that grown man so bad? Well, it started. Go back to his 1 to 5 year old upbringing. I guarantee you'll see. He was playing with guns. He was around drugs. He was around this. All the things that he's about now, those things started early. Just look at our sons, right? We start them early, and what are they in? They in fringes. They want to wear headbands. They want to Kwam Yashala with 2 hands, right? We're talking about your son, right? They want to try to do the salute, right? They want to sit there and try to read the Bible. Manashah be sitting at home with highlighters, trying to highlight everything. I'm like, come on, man. You can't highlight everything, bro. Noah, the same thing. Gave him the Bible. He just opened the highlighter and just spilled it on the Bible. That's what it seems like. Because he sees me highlighting things in the Bible, right? They pick that up early. But if I want my son to be a drug dealer, guess what I got to do? I just got to teach him from the age of 1 to 5 how to be a drug dealer, how to roll blunts. You can make a perfect prototype of anything you want. Where you think the Catholic priests start? They start early, man. They get them early and ripe for the plucking, for the picking, for the raping, right? Get them under their wing early and train up a child in the way that he will go. And when he is old, he won't leave off of what he was trained in, right? So sometimes we train our kids not to think about things and process information the correct way. We show them to not take the oversight on things and to just brush things away, and video games will solve it, right? Or this is going to solve it. Praying, we don't show our kids that, right? And fighting against authority. Remember, if mom is always fighting against dad and the kids are around, them walls is thin. They can hear it. They don't got to see it, but they can hear the tone of voice, because you know what a child remembers? The tone of voice of his mom when she's nurturing. And he knows that it's different when it's arguing, when it's combative. It's a different tone. It's a different vibe. right? You ever talk rough to your kid and they're like, wait a minute, what's going on? Rah! And they're looking around like, wait a minute, that's not the tone that I'm used to hearing. They're ready for that soothing, right? But if they hear that, back and forth, they're like, oh, so that's how I'm supposed to deal with mom. That's how I'm supposed to deal with dad. You see that? Now, I'm going to show you something. I'm going to go into this real quick. This is the Willie Lynch letter, because the white man knows this, right? White people knew this from the jump. And they knew that the woman was the catalyst to the training of the children. If you got the woman to train the children would never stop being what that woman trained them to be. Right? So, Willie Lynch letter, making of a slave. So, really, you got to ask yourself now, when I'm teaching my children how to be hateful, over emotional, fight against authority, disrespectful, lack of fortitude to fight the flesh, and all these different things, what am I really showing them to be? The perfect slave, right? I'm going to go to page 14. Page 14. I'll read this real quick. It says, a brief discourse in offspring development will shed light on the key to sound economic principles. Pay little attention to the generation of original breaking, but concentrate on future generations, right? Therefore, if you break the female, she will break the offspring. Meaning what? The mom is going to teach whatever is in her to survive. She's going to teach that to her offspring. So if I'm surviving off fast food because I'm too busy, guess what your kids are going to learn? Fast food. If I'm surviving off emotional because I'm too irrational, guess what your kids is going to learn? Emotion. If I'm surviving off of hate, guess what your kids is going to learn? Hate. Anything that you think that is a survive, but guess what? If I'm surviving off the spirit, right, and the fruits of the spirit, guess what? Your kids are going to pick that up. You see that? It says, therefore, if you break the female, she will break the offspring in its early years of development. When are those years? 1 to 5. 1 to 5. Why? It's a preservation method, right? I'm gonna break you as early as possible. That way, when you get to an age where they can whoop you and break you and kill you, they're not going to, because you're already conformed, right? So it's a preservation. It's a turning lemons into lemonade type thing that black people so beautifully we adapt. Like we turn bad things into good, so to speak, or worse things into bad things, right? Because what's lemonade without sugar and water?
Sour water.
Sour juice, right? So check this out. It says, and when the offspring is old enough to work, she will deliver it up to you. For her normal female productive tendencies will have been lost in the original breaking process. For example, take the case of the wild stud horse, a female horse, and an already infant horse, and compare the breaking process with 2 captured nigger males in their natural state, a pregnant nigger woman with her infant offspring. So what is he showing you? How to break a woman down, right? Or break down the children. But it starts with the women. So, and we've been through this. What does the woman do? Well, how do they do it? They break the man. They buck break him, right? Tell you, tar, feather, rape, humiliate in front of mom, children. So what is mom doing? She's like, oh wait, well, I don't want this to happen to my son. I don't want this to happen to my daughter. So daughter, we're going to reverse roles, right? What did it say in Esdras? It said, there shall be confusion in many places. Yeah. So the confusion is this. Son, you're now emotionally and physically dependent on me. And daughter, you're now going to be the headstrong protection. That's how they broke the family. Yeah. They switched the roles, knowing that in order for a woman to preserve her lineage without a man, this is what she was going to have to do. She was going to have to weaken the man, which is her offspring, her son, and strengthen the woman, right? But how does that work for us? Ooh, right? How does that work for us? I mean, let's be real, it hasn't, right? It hasn't worked. It hasn't worked for our people. It's not the way, right? You can't have effeminate men and damn masculine women. Like, show me, first of all, show me that in any society. Show me that throughout the world where that's working. Because what I see is Esau, right? What he'll do, he'll go to college. He'll find him his little pasty bride, right? They'll sit down and figure out what religion they're gonna teach the kids, what diet they're gonna teach the kids, what bank account they're gonna have. They dot every T and every I. And he's like, you know what? I'm satisfied with that. Let's have a baby, right? Then they have a baby. Then he goes to his little CEO job. He gets to sit up in the office, make all the power moves, fire people, hire people. And what's pasty mom doing? Minivan mom. What she gets to do? Sit at home, breastfeed her baby all the way till he's 18, cook vegan meals, right? Take him to soccer practice, right? Take him to kung fu, take him to karate, take him to cello, right? He gets to do all those things, right? While learning how to be the best Edomite he can be, right? He gets to put cats in the microwave and, oh, Billy, don't do that, right? Mom's like, that's just Billy being Billy, right? He gets to smack his sister around, watch a little bit of porn, play video game. He gets to do all those things, right? All to do what? All for his dad to get him and say, come here, son. I'm going to show you how to be a CEO. And then he trains him to be the next runner of the company, right? And they repeat the process, right? Moab, Chinese people, they get to do what? Sit at home, teach their kids how to walk around in traditional wear, cook Chinese food, chop up 2 rats, do General Tso, all those different things, right? Middle Eastern people, they get to walk around, hijabs, praise Allah, right? Walk around the cobblestone. The men do what they do. The women and children do what they do. We the only niggas that don't get to do what we got to do. We the only ones trying to figure out, how do I walk around the cobblestone? We the only ones trying to figure out, how do I cook Chinese food? We the only ones, how do I live like an Edomite? We the only ones that's trying to figure out how to do what other people are doing, but be them and not be us. It's crazy. So you can't tell me that it don't work.
It works.
You can't tell, because look at Esau. Look at how powerful they are. Look at all these nations. They get to keep their heritage intact through these tactics, while we get to wither away, pining away, like the scriptures say, right? Pining away, working, building their empire, 9 to 5. Oh Lord, swing low, sweet chariot. You singing old Negro spirituals in the Walmart, begging for the Lord to come deliver you, right? When all you gotta do is do the opposite of what we've been taught. Do what we know works. I'm gonna say it one more time. And I'm gonna go to this scripture. I'm gonna say it one more time. I get it. Where the economics of where we're at, it doesn't make for the best circumstance when it comes to this, right? But just think about it. Sometimes you gotta look at what's important. Sometimes you gotta look at the sacrifice of things and say, you know what, what's important? What's more important? I watched a video, it was on the news yesterday. Just skipped on the YouTube, I get all these little videos on my YouTube. And it was this news story out of, I forget where it was out of, but it was a videotape. The man was sitting at a daycare. He's at the daycare. He's sitting in a chair. And the white woman opens the door and walks the little black girl in. And the white dude just pushed her. Bam! Thanos slap. Across the room. The white woman watched. Closed the door and walked away like nothing happened. Now, I didn't watch the whole story because I'm like, man, I'm tired of seeing that stuff. But obviously they found out maybe the little girl was injured, something happened, right? Now, remember the days of no video cameras? We're in the era of digital age where everything's recorded. They got video camera for everything because it's a smart thing to do. But imagine all the abuses that have happened where the camera didn't catch it to back it up, right? And imagine where the camera is still missing a lot of the things that's happening to our children when they're at school. I can only imagine what the hell my kids is dealing with when they go to school. Right? Noah come home, he got bruises on his damn leg. I'm like, how that happen? I don't know. I'm like, dude, is somebody beating you up? Choke? What's going on? Right? And I got to chalk it up to, okay, he's a boy. He probably ran into a wall playing tag or elbowed somebody or punched himself. I don't know. Right? Yeah. But I'm hoping that somebody's not there beating them to death. Right? Beating the girls to death. Like, you just never know. But unfortunately, we're in a circumstance where we got to entrust our oppressor for the one of all things, even to educate and raise your children. We got to entrust that into people that hate us. Think about that. I want you to let that settle in. They've tried every way to kill you. Through diet, through food, through finances, through religion. Right? Every way to kill you. And then you got to give them your damn babies. The same babies that you coddled and held and pampered and petted and, oh my God, my sweet little angel, and you did all these things for, and then we got to happily just walk them into damn Esau land. Walk them into the institution and pray what? Every time I get a phone call from the school, I'm like, Lord, please, right? I hope if he's being bad, cool, but I don't want to hear no nonsense. You got to pray that your kids ain't in there getting stabbed, shot, bit, kicked, punched, spit on, yelled at, nigga, this, that, or killed. Molested, right? Oh. Let's go here. Let's go to Job. Let's go to Job. Because one of the things that we teach our children, I'm glad you said that. We teach our children by literally ignoring them. Job 39 and 13.
You know, it's funny, you just said that. Shreya was asking me when we were coming. She was like, Dad, are we going to class? I was like, mm-hmm. She was like, we going to class? I was like, mm-hmm. She was like, Dad, talk to me. Use your words.
See? She wants you to talk, yeah, because she want to hear your voice.
And I was like, damn, man.
Time.
Yes, right. We're going.
Bro, you can't do that. Listen, I nudged Manashab. He was like kind of in my way. I nudged him. He was like, don't push me. I was like, oh, wow. Don't push me, Quatazab. I was like, oh, damn, my bad. He wouldn't stop. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Like, but they know, like, they're like, bro, they're like so advanced. He was like, don't push me. I was like, bro, my bad. I'm sorry. I won't push you.
Was he flexing?
Bro, he was just like on me, and he was just like, nigga, don't be pushing me, cuz. Like, he was walking into the living room like, bro, and yeah, like, don't push me. And I'm like, he looked at his mom like, yo, okay. Right, you pressing me. But think about it. They're sitting there observing. Okay, we're the children of light. And we getting all this knowledge imparted into us and poured into us. You don't think they're taking some of that? And they're going to develop at an earlier stage now where they're more coherent and they're more aware at an earlier age. I look at all my kids and I'm like, man, my kids get more aware as they get, the younger they are, the more, like, I'm pretty sure a warrior, she'll probably be smarter than him. I'm banking on it. Just the way my kids, I thought your pa was brilliant. And then I'm like, wait a minute, damn, but Noah, the things that he picked up on at his age, then I'm like, this dude, wait a minute. Then I'm like, okay, so I can't wait to see a warrior. I got to be careful with her. I got to be careful with her because, you know, you give them too much too early, you lose that innocence. They're no longer children, right? They're just little mini-me's of you, and you don't want that too early. They got to be children. Now, I want to deal with this real quick. Job 39 and 13. So the women bring forth monsters, right? Why? Because of all the things that are not being taught or being taught subconsciously, consciously, by accident, by mistake, through ignorance, right? But one of the most detrimental things that we teach our kids is how to ignore people, how to be ignored. Watch, read.
Job chapter 39, verse 13.
Go ahead.
Gavest thou the goodly wing unto the peacock.
Go ahead. So this is dealing with the peacock, right? A mother peacock. Read on.
Or wings and feathers unto the ostrich.
Go ahead.
Which leaveth her egg in the earth.
Go ahead.
And warmeth them in dust.
Right? So this is what they naturally do. They lay eggs, they throw them in the dirt. Go ahead.
And forgetteth
They do what?
And forgetteth And forgetting.
Well, because I gotta go get food. Because they what?
And forgetting.
Well, because I gotta go to work. They do what?
Forgetting.
Well, because I'm busy. Because they do what?
Forgetting.
Well, because I got my own things to do. Because what?
Forgetting.
Yeah. You forget you got children. You forget you got somebody watching. You forget things that we forget that we got people that depend on us on a different level than just throwing a tablet in front of them or throwing the TV on them. Like I let my kids watch TV, but not the whole damn day. Manashah literally has to beg me to watch TV. What is that? Can I watch ABCs? Can I, Achilles? And I'm like, nah, bro, you don't need that right now. Let's go write your ABCs. Go write. I let him just go write on the paper. Get your pen, get your marker, go write. Then I let him get a little ABC before he goes to sleep. But I don't want that to be the only thing that teaches him, right? Yeah. Hey, go outside. So we'll go outside. We'll go do this. We'll go do. My day with them is really the same day. The same kind of things. We'll touch outside a little bit. We'll be inside a little bit. They'll take a nap. They'll watch a little TV. You know what I'm saying? It's a mixture of different things in the few hours, right? But it can't just be, I can't just throw them in front of the TV the whole time. That's insane. And forget about, wait a minute, they need more, right? They need more they need more substance to what it is they're doing and learning, right? That's like, okay, I'm gonna just feed my kid Pop-Tarts. When they wake up, here's a Pop-Tart. Don't you know that waking up and cooking your kids a meal shows them a level of care that you have for them? They might not appreciate, you may not think that they appreciate it, but they do appreciate it because they're looking like, damn. And then as they develop, they're like, whoa, they're spending time to do this. I wake up, I cook my kids food. They eat hot food every morning, the little ones. Right? It might be the same little whack food, but they getting fresh cooked breakfast every morning. Yeah. Right? Unless something weird is happening, we on the go. But I'm not popping no Pop-Tarts in and saying, here, nigga, eat that. Get a sugar high and you crash later. No, I'm showing care. I'm cutting the food up. I'm feeding the little one. I'm sitting with him at the table. No, bro, no TV while you eat. Let's eat. Let's drinking my coffee while I'm sitting there with them, looking at him, feeding the baby. Right, showing a little bit of care, a little bit of nurture, a little bit of structure. Right, my rib does it. Same thing. Sits with them, feeds them, cooks food for them. You know those things show children a level of I haven't forgotten you. I'm gonna do for you what I do for me. Go ahead.
And forgetting that the foot may crush them.
Yeah. See, we're so quick to. What is showing us that we're quick to leave our kids in situations where we forget that there's danger, right? We forget, like, wait a minute, everybody ain't out for the best interest of your posterity, of your children, of your heritage. They looking more to hurt, right? So you got to be careful who you leaving your kids with because of your busyness or your lack, whatever it is. Your lack of understanding, your lack of wisdom, whatever one you got, lack of time. The scriptures are showing us you got to be careful. Don't be like this ostrich woman that just drops some babies into the damn dirt thinking what? Oh, they'll be fine. I'm gonna run around like an ostrich. There's snakes, right? They're banking on those baby eggs being there because that's their meal. Or there's other dumbass ostriches that's walking doing what? Crush. I didn't know. I didn't know they were there. They're not my kids.
They don't even think about it.
They don't think about them. If mom ain't thinking, then how the hell somebody else gonna think? Read.
Or that the wild beast may break them.
Go ahead.
She is hardened against her young
Wait,
ones.
she's what?
Hardened against her
See,
young
this is what you don't want to be. This is what you don't want to be, is hardened in a way of forgetfulness, forgetting them, backburnering them. I get it, man. We got a lot to do. But the more we incorporate the children in what we got to do, the less they'll be on the back burner. The more you incorporate them, right? We got teen daughters and older kids. They're supposed to be doing what the hell you do. They're supposed to do what you do. If you got daughters and they're old enough to sew, take their ass to garments. Let them sit around and learn. Let them help you. Let them, instead of running around and crying, sit their ass down and say, hold up, pause, wait a minute. You're going to help mommy. This is what I want, and find something for them to do. Give them a piece of cloth and let them glue it to another piece of cloth. I don't know. Kids love glue. They love gluing things, right? Let them glue 2 pieces of cloth together. Let them cut the leather. Just little scraps, whatever. But what are you doing? No, you're going to sit here. You're not going to run around and make it hard for me to do what I got to do. Oh, I got to clean the school. Well, my kids are old enough to understand how to clean. Guess what? Even if you clean the same table for an hour, clean that table. I'm going to go clean the rest of it. You clean that table for mom. Right? But what are you doing? You're settling their mind, incorporating them in what you're doing, and not leaving them on the back burner. That's what it's about. It's about incorporation. Go ahead.
As though they were not hurt.
As what?
As though they were not hurt.
Man, oh man. Because it happens. And sometimes it happens by accident. Sometimes it happens through the process of, man, I'm just so busy. But you can't forget to incorporate them. You can't forget that they're picking up on the busyness and they're saying, wait a minute, okay, well, it's okay for me to be busy and be neglectful. Busy and neglectful don't go hand in hand. Incorporate them in what you're doing. Try to find a way to get them in there. Try to find a way to make it where they can, be a part. Even the littlest things. I mean, you got Shariah, you got Aslan, right? They're young. And what do they want to do? What are they doing now? They just want to sit there and color. Right? Right. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Because they're not going to be so comprehensive to even what I'm talking about. They're more like, man, I'm coloring over here. Right? But then now, hey, look, here's some, you gluing together the leather and doing all that. Hey, glue together these 2 pieces of leather. And you let them just glue it together. They're going to make a mess. They're going to mess things up. But so that's what they're going to do. But they're learning now what? Small steps to move in the footsteps of you. Right? Hey, like Shariah, she knows how to clean up, right? Yeah. A warrior, she's 1 year old, barely. And what do we have her doing? Clean up, girl. Right? You better clean up, girl, because all their toys are in our room, right? And we put them in this big trunk. And Manashah, he'll come and he'll dump the whole thing out. And the warrior, she's sitting there and she's in this thing now where she just chucks toys across the room. So I'm like, no, clean up. And then so she'll stand up, hold on to one thing, pick up her toys, and throw them inside the bucket. Right? She's learning how to clean up. So if I'm cleaning up the room, I'm like, get your toys. Manashah, come, get your toys. Put all your toys in the thing. Right? And incorporating. Hey, come here real quick. Go put this in the trash. He knows where the trash. He's been knowing where the trash is. But using and pushing their skills that they already have, and then trying to develop more skills in them. Right? That's what it's about. But not just, oh, I'm too busy. I'm too busy because I got so much on my plate that now I forget to add you in there. That has to be a thing. Don't be the ostrich. Go ahead.
Her labor is in vain.
Her what?
Her labor is in vain.
Yeah, all your labor. You pushing them out that damn womb, and anything else you're going to try to work towards is going to be in vain if the children are forgotten. Excuse me. If they're neglected. Go ahead.
Without fear.
Right?
I can go on.
Yeah.
Because God has
deprived
her of wisdom.
Yeah, see, because you're not looking at things in the wise eyes. The reason why this happens, that forgetfulness, that lack, leaving the kids to themselves to be, because this is where, listen, the wild beasts, this is where abuse and molestation and all these different things come from if you look from a human standpoint. You leave them out there to the elements is going to do what? See, this is a form of raising your child. You forget them, somebody else ain't going to forget them. Somebody else is going to be like, oh, so you ain't got nobody protecting you, huh? Come with me, little Timmy. Come on over to this side. And guess the next thing you know, what's happening? Now he's a drug dealer. Now he's this. Now he's that. Now his habits start to change. You're like, where the hell did you learn that from? Right? And then you're like, huh? But in your forgetfulness, in your neglect, somebody else is not being neglectful. Evil is there instilling evil into your children. Or negative, or something immoral, something that you're like, wait a minute, you didn't learn that from me. Well, they didn't really learn anything from you because they're being ignored. Go ahead.
Neither has he imparted to her understanding.
Right, but see, the good thing is you're not an ostrich, sisters. Most High gave you a level of wisdom and understanding to understand what your role is to the children. Right? What our roles are supposed to be. He gave us this wisdom. We just got to now use it and apply it. And, you know, that little bit of selfishness, that little bit of extra sleep, that little bit of whatever. Sometimes you got to sacrifice, man. Sometimes you got to sacrifice that little bit of damn, I ain't got time to cook. But then you look at your kids and you're like, I'm about to fill their belly with a bunch of junk. They're going to be sick after that. They eat this. They're going to have backed up guts. They're going to be sick, fevers, this, that, and the third. You know what? Let me just sacrifice the extra 10 minutes and cook them a meal real quick. Or warm up something that I cooked previously. You know, it's just that little bit of level of thinking. One more scripture, Ezekiel 16. Ezekiel 16. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know what the children are. You know what the parents are through the children. At the end of the day, you'll know. If we blindfolded every person and put the children, you'll know whose children are whose. You will. You just know off the way they deal. Because of what's been instilled in them from an early age, right? Ezekiel 16, 44.
Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 44.
Go ahead.
Behold, everyone that uses proverbs, that use this proverb against thee.
Go ahead.
Saying, as is the mother,
right,
so is her daughter.
Right. Or as the daughter is, so is the mom. Vice versa. Look at the world. Just look at it. Look at all the prototypes and all the clones. It's like clone central. Mom is about a BBL and a weave. Guess what daughter's gonna be about? Same thing. A BBL, a weave, using niggas. If daddy's about drugs, guns, and butter, guess what son's gonna be about? Drugs, guns, butter, women, this, pimping, hoeing, this, that. All we're doing is breeding the next generation of either righteous or unrighteous. As the mother is, so is the daughter. That's what you got to realize. We say it in Jamaica, the fruit don't fall far from the tree, right? Or what do you say? Something from I forget. It's a saying, but it's like the fruit don't fall far from the tree, right?
The apple don't fall
far from the tree. Huh?
I said the apple don't fall far from the mango.
Nah, we don't say that in Jamaica. That is whack. We don't even got apple trees in Jamaica, do we? I don't remember seeing an apple tree. Capper. We definitely got mangoes. But the fruit don't fall far from the tree, meaning what? You making your replica. Whether you like it or not. There's traits that the kids pick up on. You know, you can have a kid that's been around his dad for the first few years, and then his dad get locked up, and he turned out just like his dad. And everybody was showing him not to be like his dad, but all of a sudden he's like that man. Why? Because of what was instilled in him early. Because some things, you know, it's hard to fight certain things that are taught, but it goes back to train up a child, right? And when he is young and when he is old, he will not depart. So we got to be more conscious of what we're showing them, what we're giving them, what they're seeing from us. Finish that 45.
Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 45.
Right?
Thou art thy mother's daughter.
Go ahead.
That
loatheth or hate.
That loatheth her husband.
Right. See, again, what are they learning? Now this don't gotta be. This could be thou art that mother that has faith. Thou art thy mother Lois and thy grandmother Eunice that dwellest in faith. Thou art that mother that's a keeper at home. Thou art that mother that instill righteousness and love and charity and character, right? This ain't gotta be, you're the woman that hates your husband, and we can tell that that's your mama because of the way you move. How about, we could tell that that's your mom because she was a kind and loving person, and you're kind and loving too. We could tell that's your mama because, the way she spoke, you speak just like her. In a good way. Right? Her soft words, her kind word. Your mom always had kind words about her. Man, you're just like her. Right? It don't gotta be there. Your mom was a hateful bitch, and you just like her. Damn. Right? It don't gotta be the negative. Go ahead.
and her children, and thou art the sister of thy sister.
Because who learns from the mom? Who learns? The sister, the mom who teach the daughter, then the older daughter teach the younger sisters, and then the older sister teach the younger sisters, and it's just a train wreck of bad teaching, right? So, again, in conclusion, right? I know we went over about 30 minutes. 45. In conclusion, right? We got to do better with the teaching and what we are administering to the El Niños. Con? Any questions? Wow, it was just 9:23. Con. All right. That's it, man. Thank y'all for joining us. I know y'all hung in there for a time. We appreciate it. If you'd like to help out with anything for the school, please do so. With that, we'll end class. We'll say shalom.
Shalom.
Chilling up in the